If you fashion your Juggz t-shirt correctly, you get 2 fashion accessories.
Is that a t-shirt?
Yeah, that's the off trimmings.
Oh, got you. I see, you've cut it.
You in fact get 2 fashion accessories for the price of 1.
Welcome to Juggz.
Oh wait, have you pressed?
I've pressed it before. I've heard about the fashion accessories.
Oh, you
All right.
I chickened out.
So just to make sure that your video is working, Louise, do you want to say hello, welcome to Juggz?
Hello, welcome to Juggz. We're back, baby, and I should be on camera.
You are on camera.
You are.
So we think for now, and yet if I just stay like that,
I'm just
maybe
staring at the audience right now because no one's clocked that we're all wearing Juggz t-shirts.
I mean, you say that. How do you know?
I was about to say, nice t-shirt, Peach.
Nice t-shirt.
What time's it come off?
Woo, nice
Straight
t-shirt.
away.
Nice shirt, Rob.
I've oiled up ready in butter.
Rob
oiled up in
literally
butter.
took off his shirt in the Juggz studio.
That's a nice set of Juggz you got there, Rob.
I went downstairs and Monk was like, Louise, love your Juggz. I was like, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Were they here?
Thank you. Thank you. Fashion accessory.
So, hello everyone, welcome to Juggz. Hi. And as you may be aware, if you follow the link below, which at time of recording doesn't exist. I said to Tom earlier, I was like, Tom, can people buy this? He's like, yes. I was like, okay. I was like, why did you make them? So there should be a link in the comments below. The pinned comment should be where you can pick up your Juggz merch.
And if not, haha, we have shirts and you don't.
That's actually better. In fact, actually, we're not selling them. Just for us.
We have shirts and you don't.
Tom's furious right now.
He's always furious with us.
Watching this, not happy. I'm super. As soon as he shared the
They're
photo, I was just like, I'm rubbing him like that.
So I'm not going to do that, but I have fashioned mine into a sassy. Can you see, Rob?
I can see. Yeah, you've done a crop top,
and then this other fashion accessory. It's a necktie.
Oh
wait, no, it's mostly. I'm
a headband.
doing a terrible job.
This is good.
It's a tourniquet if you
tourniquet.
have an accident on the old leg or arm.
So it's lovely to see everyone. Me and Louise have been away for a week.
I was going to ask how that was.
Well, I want to
ask you first.
Yeah, we were like, we missed you, Peach. How you been?
We know how we've been, so I want to know how you've been.
You want to know how I've been? No one wants to know how I've been.
That's not
always
true.
want to know how you've been.
Well, I've been great, thanks. I've had a good week. I've had a lonely week.
What do you mean a lonely
Well,
week?
my usual fix of seeing humans on a Thursday was smashed because you're in Amsterdam. But you did offer for me to come and see you guys.
I was literally like, I'll just pay for you to come, Peach.
Yeah, and that was very
so
kind. And Liz was
fun.
like, oh, you should have gone. I was like, if it was the summer holidays, would have done it because she would be off to look after Charlie, but someone's got to take him to school. I mean, I could just leave him at school and never pick him up.
People do that. People leave their babies at nursery because they're like, what? You were supposed to take care of my kid.
Is this private school?
No.
Don't know, just
The boarding school is boarding school.
That's just
boarding school is so funny. Boarding school, I literally hate my child. That's such a funny thing. As a concept.
What do you mean? I literally what?
because they're like, as soon as they can go to school, they're like, right,
Away
off you go. Well, I'm not going to see you for 14 years.
I loathe you. Your presence offends me. Go away.
This is true. I always thought boarding school was a good thing, but I think it traumatizes children. It's literally because sometimes they don't even live that far away. I get it if it's a really good school and they live in another country, but a lot of the time they only live 20 miles down the road.
Yeah.
If you're watching this video and you've been traumatized by being at boarding school, please do let us know in the comments.
Tell us we're starting out with trauma.
We're starting out with trauma again. Anyway, Peach missed us, which was his trauma.
I missed you too.
I was sad, but I got on. I soldiered on. I soldiered on.
Just about.
Yeah.
Just about made it.
Just about made it. Dropped some messages. You never responded. It's fine.
Did you?
Did you?
It's fine because you were busy.
I mean, we were
I
quite
wasn't.
busy.
I'm just
You'll
a
see
bad
them now. Even Tom was like,
I might go for a nap right now.
I went for so many naps and drank so many chocomels. It was 10 out of 10.
So one of my favourite things that Tom does is if I communicate with you guys in the Juggz WhatsApp, I'm downstairs, can you let me in? Half an hour later, Tom will go, has Peach got in yet? Have you guys let him in yet?
Have you guys? I like that. I like Tom just making sure we're all trying to be basic humans from a distance.
It's because you've got so many social media platforms to concentrate on that it's hard to keep track.
It's
For
not
Rob,
that.
yeah, for me, I'm just dilly-dallying.
Yeah,
You are
I
dilly-dallying.
am dillying and dallying
The one
quite
that,
hard.
yeah, we don't need to go into this. You
No,
do
go
dally.
on.
No, I just when I call you, you don't answer, and it really upsets me.
Really?
I'm like, answer the phone.
I'm not I'm not a hugely phone person. Like, I'm pretty good at not like being like on my phone constantly.
Yeah.
I have other things. I've got an ocarina and a Tamagotchi.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
true.
I'm the same as Mrs. Peach. Like, I'll drop messages, but where we live, even with our Wi-Fi, it's like awful reception.
Yeah.
So sometimes I can drop her a messenger message, a WhatsApp message, and a text message, and I get home and then my phone goes, "Oh, I'm going to send them now." I'm like, oh, thanks.
Great.
It's only 8 hours too late, but
Liz
thank you
is
for that.
furious.
And she's like, "Where
Sorry,
have
Liz.
you been?" I'm like, "I'm sorry." But yeah, it was a good week. I
Good.
made my first battle report.
Okay, so yeah,
so
we've
excited
already
for
heard a
this.
little bit about this. So
Yes.
tell us
I'm
all
gonna
about
pretend
it.
I haven't. What?
What?
What do you mean?
So it's something I've always wanted to do, and there are a few game systems out there. There's a lot of game systems out there now. I'm aware
There's
of.
one or two.
There's one or
I've
two.
heard.
There's quite a few, but some that are very sort of concentrate on solo play, which is perfect for me being on my own in a dining room
That's
table.
so sad. My friends aren't here. I guess I'll
No one
play
here to
alone
play
with
against.
my
But
babies.
it's great because I can control the narrative, and I basically did a Sharp episode, and I called it Sharp's Wolf. And if you ever watch Sharp, you don't need to know any of the Sharp
Tell
lore.
us what is sharp.
Yeah,
For those
honestly,
that
try to give
okay.
us. Wait, hold on,
Literally.
hold on. Before you
Okay.
do,
He's been
Louise, are
preparing
you
for
able
this.
to give us a one line of what you think Sharp is?
Oh yes,
is it Sean Bean?
yes, good start, Tick.
Is a wayward soldier.
Yeah, good.
yeah.
He eats rations and has gun.
Yes, that's true.
Excellent.
All
His
those things are
gun-
correct.
Gun needs cleaning. Lots of shots of zoom in gun cleaning.
If you could do 3 shots a minute, Louise, amazing.
In any weather.
Yeah,
How
in
was
any
that?
weather.
Was that good? Was that good?
Yeah, that was great.
good,
That was
good.
excellent. Yeah.
Smashed.
It's bare minimum, but
Yeah.
enough
I
to.
actually
Peach, maybe round that
never-
off. What do you reckon?
So Sharp is set in the Napoleonic Wars.
Nailed it.
Sean Bean plays a scruffy member of the 95th Rifles who was originally a sergeant, but he saves the general's life. A guy called Arthur Wellesley, also known as Wellington. If you ever heard of the Duke of Wellington,
I have.
Yes,
I have.
he's quite a big deal.
He had
during that
10,000
time.
men.
He had
No, that was the
10,000.
Grand Old Duke of York.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
That's fine. It's they're all leaders. They all look the same. They all sound posh.
They all probably
Yeah,
had
that's true.
10,000 men.
In the Sharp lore, he basically saves this guy's life from
Cool,
some
cool.
dragoons, gets promoted to be an officer. In that time, being an officer, risen from the ranks, is not. It's frowned upon because you are born as an officer. You are only the rich can
like
be an
a
officer.
noble.
Yeah, you pay to be an
This
officer. You don't
motherfucker,
learn.
We should kill him.
Yeah, I mean, lots try to do that. So
And is it like the one show where like people unsuccessfully kill Sean Bean?
he survives all of these
yeah.
assassination
Yeah,
attempts.
so it is.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's why you like it so much because it's like finally Sean unsuccessful murder.
I
attempts.
generally think that it's not intended, but I think all the films that Sean Bean's ever filmed are just to deal with the fact that he survives all the way through these.
Oh, it's like the karma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
like Sharp lived, so others must die.
so
Yeah.
other Sean's
Yeah,
must die
exactly.
in the
Yeah.
Sean multiverse.
but yeah, he's just like a swashbuckling, rugged man who fights his way across the Peninsula War. Peninsula
How
War
old is he in it?
He's in his, I think he's like 20s.
So it's.
Or he might be
when
getting
was
up to his
it? When was
30s.
it released? The
the
series.
90s?
Yeah, so he was like mid-20s, getting up to
Ah, so
30s.
There's a lot of women in
Youngin.
like ruffled shirts.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
Liz Hurley in there. There was lots of big actors actually. Even
I didn't
Daniel
know Liz
Craig
Hurley was in it.
as
I don't
well.
know Liz Hurley.
Daniel Craig was in it.
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, he plays a baddie called
Bond.
Berry. No, is it?
James
Yeah, it's Berry.
Bond.
James Bond. James. Weirdly, because obviously Sean Bean plays 006.
Does he?
In GoldenEye.
Oh, I
Yeah, he
didn't.
plays
know.
the bad- Oh no, that's the wrong one.
Sorry.
We all started singing. I was going with Pissy Galore. Like
They got some. I mean, there's the Dr.
There
Goodhead.
certainly is.
Dr. Goodhead was an awful name. Holly Goodhead, I
Back
think her name is.
to-
Sorry, Sharp.
Back to Sharp.
But yeah, so he basically has to prove himself as a soldier, as an officer. And he's not really accepted by both because soldiers
Yeah.
in the ranks don't really respect someone that's risen from the ranks because they're not of their.
Who the fuck do they think he is?
Well, I
So
know.
what's important, Louise,
Yeah.
is in the 90s, because obviously we're in a much more progressive time now.
So
they-
you say.
So they were struggling to really like explain the class warfare situation.
Okay.
And so they tried to use
Really?
it through the medium of sharp. They were like, what if
Okay.
a much more competent person
Yeah.
was in charge but had started poor?
Fuck
And that was
Just
literally the
absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, no way.
No way.
No way.
No way.
You had me until he was fucking poor.
Exactly.
Absolutely get out.
Yeah.
Back on the streets, son.
And so obviously, it was controversial because,
Why?
as we know, the rich are better.
They're
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
better.
They're better.
That's
Yeah.
why they're rich.
Yeah. They're born better. They literally,
Yeah.
they know everything from the womb.
It's because they can afford basic amenities like education.
Exactly. So therefore, Sharp became like a bit of the hero to the working man.
Yes, to
Hell yeah.
the masses.
Hell yeah.
But that's pretty much what Sharp is, and he fights through many battles, survives. He's got a team of guys, and there are loads of cool stories. Sometimes he's a bit of a dick in some of the stories. I think he gets a few people killed off.
You gotta be
Yeah,
to
he
get
is,
where you
yeah.
are, right?
Yeah, there's some high drama.
Yeah,
High drama.
But
Also, importantly, Louise, he has a little band of men who are all Irish,
Irish.
and this is a problem.
not all Irish, not all Irish.
Oh, they're not all Irish.
Yeah, a couple of them are.
Sorry, a couple of them are Irish.
So
I think
what, are they
40% of the British Army at that time was Irish, though. So
Wow,
interesting.
okay.
We watched. Is it a Stanley
Kubrick.
Yeah,
Kubrick.
One of the
I
basic,
never know
one of the
like
basic
Kubrick.
directors.
One of the
Basic
stop. We read this list of things to say to upset men, and one of them was call their favorite director basic.
Nice.
And the other one was
Wait, can I tell you the one that's the worst?
which one's the worst?
The worst one was, the second Batman film with Heath Ledger.
No, the
Yeah.
Joker. The Joker 2. The one of the best ones was in the Joker 2 should have a woman as the Joker. And it's just
I was like, if anyone ever puts any hate on Heath Ledger's name, I'm going
Heath
for them.
Ledger isn't in the Joker. He's
I
in
know.
Batman.
I got confused earlier.
The other,
that really
what was
upset
another
me.
one? Is have you considered growing a beard, or is that just not an option?
Wow.
yeah, some of them are devastating.
Louise spent an entire week with Warhammer tournament players, and now she's like, right, I need fire to throw. Yeah, I need to be ready.
You look taller in your pictures online.
I mean,
Anyway,
Sharp.
Peachy, so Sharp, you made a battle report based on
Mate,
Sharp?
I made a battle report. I had hours of footage, which is trimmed down now to 10 minutes of actual gameplay with a bit of an intro, a bit of an outro.
Only 10 minutes.
Well, because I was learning, there was lots of imagery that was a bit rubbish. There was lots of photography that was a bit. I've taken some stills and kind of zoomed in because sometimes with a battle report, it's like I only need a still to explain what's going off and maybe just zoom in a bit because the camera just filming.
I think because
doesn't
a lot
really
of
add
people,
anything.
because I think a lot of people at home don't realise that the minis don't actually move.
Exactly.
They do if you go-
Which is mad, right? It's absolutely mad. But I tried to add like a bit of a narrative to it. Got some sound effects on there.
It looks great.
It was fun. I've got two more parts. So but I'm gonna give a bit of a spoiler to the people. So this first one is called Sharp's Wolf, where he comes across some wolf-related baddie.
Are these like ones you've had in your head for a while that you
A
wanted
little,
to play?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, a little
little bit.
So I'm doing a werewolf theme. I'm doing a 3-part series about a werewolf.
Of course, because it's Silver Bayonet.
Silver
so it has
Bayonet,
to be a little bit spooky.
Yeah, so
Oh,
the
I
first one's going to be
love.
Sharp's Wolf, discover a werewolf. And then the next one's going to be Sharp's Silver, where he's got to find some silver because the British Army haven't got enough silver to pay their own troops, let alone melt down to use as weapons.
That's
so
because
they're
it's in
going to
all
raid
the
the
rich
French.
people's houses.
They're going to raid the French.
They're going to because at this point in their history is they're pushing into the border of France and Spain, so they're actually getting ready to invade Spain. Joseph, who's Napoleon's brother, is trying to leave Spain because they're getting battered, and there's like loads of convoys and carriages of just riches that get ambushed a lot.
Ooh.
So it makes sense to have a section of story where they raid one of these, get a lot of silver, melt it down into bayonets, swords, shots,
Get
weapons.
some good use out of those French casualty miniatures.
Exactly.
That the Paris do.
Yes, I
Yeah.
need to paint some French ones actually because I've got loads of British dead. But then the last one, I might change the name, but it's called Sharp's Moon, and it sounds a bit like he's just pulling his trousers down.
Sharp's Moon.
Yeah, because it's like
Full sharp.
Yeah,
Sharp.
sharp
Total-
breaking dawn.
Total eclipse of the sharp.
you see,
Done.
The problem with sharp things, right, is it's sharp and then it's a single word
It also
for
sounds
the
like
episode. Sharp. So I want to keep to the single word, but do I do double words? What do you think,
I
people?
like Total
do I do more
Eclipse
than one
of the
word?
Sharp.
Yeah,
For a title?
Total Eclipse of the Sharp is good.
Total Eclipse. That is quite good, actually.
Total eclipse
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
sharp.
Sharp, New Moon Rising.
Sharp,
something
sharp.
like
I
that.
New
like, I
Moon,
like
Sharp New
sharp,
Moon.
comma, and then like the movie title.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
New Moon Rises.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Yeah, because
ooh.
traditionally it's always been one word for a book.
Okay,
Yes,
so
it has.
it needs to be. So we got sharp wolf, sharp silver.
Yeah.
And then what about sharp?
End.
Sharp's like
Twilight.
Yeah.
Sharp's Twilight is
I
quite
like Sharp
good.
Twilight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also it's werewolf themed, which
It's
obviously
werewolf themed.
That's
Yeah.
in the Twilight Saga.
it's in the
Yeah.
Twilight Saga, so
I
it's
like
super
Sharp's
weird.
Twilight.
I'm going to go with
Get
that.
it.
Sharp's
Get it.
Twilight.
There we
That is it.
go.
Look at us.
I love
Makes it
when-
sound like he's going to die soon as
Yeah,
well.
like, oh, is it
Oh,
the, is it the,
oh.
does he finally
I
die?
hope not,
like
because
it.
I want to make 3 more about Dracula.
We can bring him back as a werewolf. Spoilers.
There we go. But yeah, I've been doing that. I've had a lot of fun, learnt a lot. So the next time I film,
How was it playing a solo game?
great, really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. So with my concept of my games is I'm not introducing any dice on the table, no dice cam. There is an element of people trusting me to make the right dice rolls, but I mean, I've
Why
got.
would you lie?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm telling the story, and the way I've always
Well, that's
played.
what they do. That is something that happens on Battle Reports.
Yeah, yeah.
What
They,
people like.
they massage
They-
the
yeah.
story
Oh
a bit.
no, that's true. Yeah, we did a few cheeky let's do that again.
Because it could like be an anticlimax, right?
Yeah.
So you might want to make it feel a little
I
bit
mean,
less of a...
they're so hard to produce battle reports.
Yeah.
They're like so resource intensive. There's so much happening. Like
they found that out on Warhammer Plus within the first week.
Hmm.
Like they had, I think, like 2 people working on Battle Report, and then I think it turned out like 8
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
end. By the time they were comfortable, not including the presenters.
Yeah, it takes a phenomenal amount of workload to do. So like, it's unsurprising that like the bat rep channels out there, or like YouTube, cohorts and brethren, like when they do make their battle reports, obviously like one of the things that they have to do is make sure that it's entertaining.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's what they are generally providing is entertainment,
Yeah.
or infotainment.
I mean, I
one of the two.
might do a little video on the rules themselves so people get an idea how the game system works, but I just think it's like White Dwarfs of old, where they didn't really tell you the dice and the numbers.
No,
they
it was just taught you through
explained the
story.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could argue that this is a bit of an anticlimactic finish to this video, but actually it sets up so much for the next 2 stories.
I'm
Can I
excited
tell you
for
one of the
Sharp's Wolf and Sharp's Twilight
Yeah,
already.
me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Can I tell you one of
Yeah.
the things that I'm really excited about is did you ever watch anything like Historia Civilis, which is like a YouTube channel?
No.
But basically what they do is they... 'cause you remember Dad's Army?
Yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
remember
I
the
love
intro for
Dad's
Dad's Army,
Army.
where it would be like the British flags and the
Yes,
arrows?
yes,
Yeah.
Right, okay. So like basically they do battle reports, but they're not battle reports. It's like in this historic battle, of like Caesar in Gaul or whatever, this is it'll be a little square and that's a legion, another little
Yeah, yeah,
square, and
yeah.
they'll do the arrows and they'll explain how it works. And it obviously looks really simple, but I don't need it to look any more complicated.
Yeah.
To like really
That's
understand
true, yeah.
what's really
I
happening.
probably understand less if it was like a high CGI blob of people.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
agreed,
So like, I quite like that, and I think you should maybe try to integrate that in.
Yeah.
Because I do love. Like that kind
war
of whistle.
infographic.
Well, I honestly do. Like a good old map and a little button, and then they moved, and
A
here's an
little
arrow.
box
Yeah,
and an
yeah.
arrow just...
Yeah, a box and an arrow, because I don't need any more than that. I just need like that info, and I think that's
Well, I
actually
mean, I
quite fun.
could do that between each turn. Is have like the top down of the map, and then just do a bit of voiceover, like this has happened, they've secured this, and just have arrows and like things.
Because that's
dead,
what I mean. That's
things
what I
dead.
think why White Dwarf Battle Reports was so successful.
Yeah, yeah.
Is because they laid out those images.
Yeah, those
'cause-
are iconic little maps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
right,
I would
yeah.
argue that's one of the reasons they were so successful.
Yeah.
Is because like you could understand it by looking.
Yeah, you still
Like-
had cool photos, but you had the map.
You had the
that
map.
is-
The
that is
map.
that
The
is
map.
key.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
love a map. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
smart.
So
No, yeah, I was thinking of like doing something, and it was going to be top down and just explain. But I think some visuals of arrows, traditional thumbnail red arrows would be good.
Oh, love a red arrow.
Get them in there.
get them in there.
Red arrow.
Thumbnail game on this one's going to be pretty lame because it's just
What
going
do
to
you
be
mean?
well because I'm not trying to do like a I say clickbaity like
Like flashy,
Games
flashy.
Workshop's over kind of thing. It's like this is Sharp's Wolf. It's a bat report.
Yeah. Well, you can still make it flashy whilst not being like, fuck you, Space Marines.
Yeah, well, you'll have to show me how
Space
to make
Marines
that flashy.
will
then,
never
'cause-
recover.
Yeah.
Do you
But I wanna
have-
Louise's,
keep like a-
Louise's D&D one I thought was amazing. Like, I know this is going to sound really silly.
It got me
'cause-
flagged for AI on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, I'll tell you about that in a bit.
But like one of the things that really impressed me was, I know this is going to sound really silly because I know obviously she's a successful YouTuber.
Thank you.
Clearly, right? Very successful. But then what made me laugh was I looked at it, I was like, that looks like a professional YouTuber's done that. I don't know she's a professional YouTuber. We all are, right? But I was like,
What
that
do you
looks
mean?
like, we're just like, I don't know how to describe it. Apart
Because
from like,
I don't feel like a professional
We need this on
YouTuber.
screen whilst we're talking about it because
yeah, I'll pop it up. I'll
Because
pop it up.
I'm just a little guy.
Yeah,
Just
I
a
know.
little
Just
guy.
a little
Just
guy.
Just a little guy. But what I'm trying to say is one of the things that I think is impressive is it looked incredibly professional.
I need to
which is
remind myself what that looks
which is
like.
exactly what I think
But-
of like when I was at Salute and I saw the Rascal Town stuff.
Thank
Because like
you.
when you did the banners, I like turned around. I was like,
Oh, she looks like a proper miniature company.
I was like, oh, you actually painted those.
Yeah.
And they're in this, and I was like, and that's whenever you and Tom do the box art for one of the boxes, I'm like, this looks like a real thing.
Yeah.
Like a real, like a
Thank you,
real
Rob.
boy's done it.
I am a professional.
I know, but
I did it for years.
I suppose you forget because you're around
Because
that
that's
person.
what I mean. Like,
right?
I'm just a little guy.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, so I did that thumbnail and I like photoshopped the background. I took it over there on that wall. So like against a white wall, set up the thingy. And then I did the usual like Photoshop stuff where I like put in a colored background, put on a texture on the table, cut myself out, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I posted it on Instagram. And Instagram, like someone messaged me a screenshot of my post because Instagram had labeled it as made with AI. Like I hadn't like, and I was
Are
like,
you a robot?
I was really upset because it was right after that whole like everyone was talking about AI bad thing.
Oh, yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
the day after that, and then I posted something, and Instagram was like, "This has been made using AI," and I was so upset. So I'm like, "What's going on?" So I looked, and there's a button you can click that says, "I used AI to like, generate this image." I hadn't clicked it. I like deleted the post, obviously, because I was like, this is fucked. And I re-uploaded it again, being like, might have been a glitch. And it was exactly the same. It was made with AI. So something in an AI bot at Instagram had looked at my picture and decided that it was an AI generated image.
what's really funny
Interesting.
is two things.
Yeah.
Number one, it was probably AI that like.
That's what I mean. It was
that,
an
like-
AI robot
Yeah.
Or like
that had
a robot.
misidentified
And
it as
also,
AI.
welcome everyone to our 2-hour talk about AI, where we
No!
call everyone virgins.
You're a virgin. You're a virgin.
I definitely am.
I'm a virgin.
I mean, look at me. Would anyone? Oh, no.
Would 3 people wearing Juggz t-shirts be
I-
virgins? Never.
Yes.
Yeah, if you
Either
want a way
way.
to not be a virgin, Juggz t-shirts.
But yeah, so I like talked to some of my friends about it, and apparently it's a big issue right now because you know how Photoshop has tools which are like the spot removal tool.
Yeah.
It's flagging that as AI
Oh,
because it
interesting.
uses
Okay.
like I guess artificial intelligence to say, oh, here's the surrounding area, and like the automatic masking tool.
Yeah.
Like basic Photoshop tools are now like it reads the metadata or something, and it's like this is an AI generated.
So if I
image.
cut out background,
Yes, and if you do it by hand, it won't. But if you use like the automatic marquee tool,
but how does it know?
because it's in like the I don't know.
'Cause
it's
when
in,
you
like, the
export
files
it, it
data
has-
or
it
the
has metadata
pixels or
attached to
something.
it.
But no, I don't know. But either
Yeah.
way, so a lot of photographers are being like absolutely shat on from orbit.
Yeah.
Because they'll post a photograph, like a normal photograph, and if they've used the spot removal tool to like remove a bit of dust,
Yeah.
their photograph is like this was generated using AI.
Yeah, and they're getting
Yeah.
like ripped apart by
That-
their audiences
It's
for it.
so
Yeah, I've
bad.
had that with my doll photography where people are like said you're doing AI on follow, so that makes
Yeah, but like
that
yeah,
makes
so
sense.
people are so aware of it, especially
Yeah.
in the art space. But yeah, photographers on Instagram right now, if they use any like cropping, expand tool,
Interesting.
like what's it called? Content aware
Yeah.
fill, like really basic Photoshop tools, they're being flagged as AI.
Interesting.
And
Wild.
it's real bad. Yeah. So I just never got to post my thumbnail
Oh.
for that video on Instagram because every time I did, it just said I'd used AI, and I guess
Could
I did.
you take a
but-
photo of the photo and then upload
I
the
was
photo?
just gonna upload the raw where I'm just like
Yeah,
nothing's
yeah.
like cropped or anything like that. But yeah, wild. That was not fun. That was
No,
not a fun
no, it's interesting,
2
though.
hours for
Yeah,
me.
you got stressed, didn't you?
I did because like it is interesting because I think when people see made using AI, they don't think of things like the marquee tool or the
No,
spot
no, I
removal
wouldn't have
tool.
thought that.
No, but it kind of it kind of puts a bad flavor on the entire thing.
I mean, like a face app thing, yeah, that's definitely AI because you like completely change someone's face,
If
right?
you're like, but I don't even think like the warping tool registers it as AI. It's literally, it's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. It's also crazy that the term AI is being thrown around for terms that don't mean AI.
Yes,
I've
noticed this too.
It's honestly quite confusing right now to be inside, like, especially for you two, because you two create a lot.
Yeah.
So that's got to be really hard because, like, obviously, like, so much like stuff is being like flooded with this like nonsense.
Yeah.
And there's like, it's like every corporation. Was it my phone yesterday was like, oh, by the way, I'm an AI now.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it's
are you?
Yeah, it's like
I didn't agree to that.
Install the new AI on your phone or something.
And I was like, no, thank you.
It's
Yeah.
like Alexa, but now it's like AI.
You see, I've used AI for like spell checking because sometimes like spell check, because when I'm like, I don't know, like typing up a script or like typing up a title or a description for YouTube, sometimes it gives you the wiggly red line, but it's like, I've spelt it right as an Englishman, but it's wrong because it's an American program.
Yeah.
It wants to get rid of the U in colour or armour. I'm like, no, that's...
I feel like that's what we should be using robots for.
Yeah, well, this
I feel
is
like
it.
that's
So,
a good use of AI robots.
So I sometimes get confused if I'm writing sympathise or strategise right or wrong. So because it's got a wiggly red line. So I just get that, put it to chat.
GPT.
Thank you.
GPT.
And then just go, can you check for spelling mistakes and grammar issues?
Make the robot
and then it
do
will
the
just go...
job.
Do the old thing, and I'll read it and go, nothing's changed. It's just, it's capitalised that. It's put a comma there. Okay, cool, because I'm an idiot.
Have you thought about just typing, never thinking about it again, pressing send, and then 10 minutes later just have someone be like, you spelled all of that wrong?
That's
my system.
This is how Rob...
That's what I do.
I get so annoyed when Rob tweets.
Yeah.
Because Rob will just smack a keyboard and press send.
Yeah.
So you know how you're probably the same as me. You'll do a tweet, you'll like think about it. You'll
I still
write it
get
out.
spellings wrong. I'll look at it like
but then
4 or 5 times.
You'll look at it, you'll check it, and you'll go, that doesn't come across quite right. I'll just change that.
Yeah.
Send.
Yeah.
Well,
Rob just is like...
So the other day I put a Juggz episode on, people were like, episode 7 again? And I was like, oh no. Episode 8, welcome.
See, that's the thing, is it? Like with Twitter, you can't correct or edit.
No, you can't edit.
But on Instagram, you can, and like on the description, you can, because like my comments, I'd respond to some people on YouTube, and Liz were like, "What are you trying to say here?" And it looks like someone's drunk is trying to write. And I'm like, "What happened there?" Because my autocorrect, I think, has had a stroke.
Oh no!
I think I just have. I think that's what's actually going on.
Oh dear.
So Peach, you've done you've done the
We're
battle
still
report.
here, we're still
You're going to
here.
do more battle reports?
Yes. So this is part 1 of a 3-parter for Sharp's wolf-themed series. I'm going to do a Dracula series. I'm going to do some other series for Silver Bayonet. But I also want to go into Frostgrave. I want to do Rangers of Shadow Deep. There's Moonstone. There's loads of things I want to try and do.
Our local gaming store has started stocking Moonstone.
I have a picture of it. It's so cool.
Will you send it me and I'll upload it?
Yeah. So I was so shocked. Like, you know how Moonstone's like our favorite little indie game, and
Yeah,
we love
yeah.
it so much. Look at these guys being...
That's
Look at
good.
the thing
Yes,
with their
I
dogs.
need to do more stuff. Oh my! Look at all that Star Wars
I know.
shatter
Don't
point.
look at the Star Wars.
Sorry, I
Don't
saw
look at the
the Star Wars.
Yeah,
Me
it's
too.
amazing.
Oh, by the way, I picked up Grogu the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's out. Grogu and Mandalorian's out.
What for Shatterpoint?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
you get. Do you get IG? Is it?
Yeah, you get
88?
IG88 as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Picked him up.
Nice.
Super
Sorry.
excited.
Baby Yoda.
Me.
Yeah, baby.
Baby Yoda.
But yeah, more battle reports, I reckon. It's took me a while to film that one, but that's more edit, not film. But I've learned a lot. I can streamline it, so I think
I feel like
looks
this
really
is.
good.
I feel
It
like
looks
this is
great.
completely in your wheelhouse, though. Like from an outsider's perspective, like obviously as your friend, hopefully your friend, and then
definitely.
okay, just hoping, just being shy. But from an outsider's perspective, obviously you are someone who considers themselves an army painter. So it makes sense that you then move into like being like, okay, I've painted this and now I'm in the space where I'm playing it.
Yeah.
And then, you don't have to be playing at, I think what loads of people are really looking for, because I see this a lot online, obviously because I do like, I guess, competitive stuff, tournament stuff.
You said
yeah.
the word.
I said the word, I know, danger. But because I do those things, like people are looking for like, the same way for like Louise, like you're looking at this like very high-end level of painting.
Yeah.
I would say I'm the same in that side on gaming. But there's such a huge swath of people. That's why Slapchop was so resonant.
You just leant on the button and it
That's
started
fine.
flashing.
That doesn't do anything. That's okay. But
Why is it flashing
Why
red,
is it
Rob?
flashing red, Rob?
Okay, so they're all talking about what I'm using to monitor the video, which is still working absolutely
I've seen
fine.
How do you
sci-fi
know?
films when that light's flashing.
Because I know what that button does. Do you know what that does?
Do you knew the camera wasn't
Everyone
working
at home
last
right
episode?
now, at home right now who's watching this, what does everyone think FTB stands for on my A10 Mini Pro
Fuck
ISO?
that, buddy.
Fuck that, buddy.
Fuck that. Don't press it.
Don't press that.
Don't press that. Fuck that, buddy.
I was saying something along the lines of, I think there's a lot of people who, and if you are one of those people at home who identifies as this person, let us know. But there's a lot of people in that middle ground. They're like, I want to paint some minis.
Yeah.
I want to play a game.
Yeah.
I don't want to like take it too serious, but
Yeah.
also I kind of need to know how to play it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's perfect. That's exactly your wheelhouse, right?
It's spurred me to paint more.
Mm-hmm.
It spurred me to get more into that game as well. So I'm playing a game on Monday with me bud Dave as well. So I'm going to play Civil Bayonet with him, and then the Friday I'm going to go and do some stuff with Games Night as well. Do some Civil Bayonet with them. So
that'd be fun.
But yeah, I'm just spurred on to do more. I think someone mentioned it in one of the comments because I gave it to the patrons as it's only right early, and they're like, I love the hobby hype sort of vibe that the channel is, because it's like a bit of building, a bit of talking, a bit of painting, and then a bit of playing, and that's kind of what my hobby is anyway. I like to talk about the things, I like to paint the things, I like to build the things, I like to play games with the things. So hopefully there'll be more, because I'd like to have more people and like do bigger games, but I need more, because this is just using a camera and a light on my dining room table. So it's quite bare bones.
I really want to do a solo play thing. So I'm really glad you've done it first.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I think, like I've said this like the last like 8 Juggz in a row or something, but I really like the way your channel's turned out with like introducing people to new games.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool because I think like probably every channel probably wants to be like that. I think because like
But they're pussies.
But they're pussies. They're big virgin vaginas. So I hate what I just said. We are bleeping that out.
No,
I won't remember.
But like we always say, there is the pool of like doing the Warhammer video and stuff. But no, I love the fact that you're doing other things as well, and you are being successful for it, and people are recognizing your channel as like, oh, he has the good recommendations.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah, I mean, you know, people reach out and go, "Oh, I'd like to try this game," and I'm like, "Cool, send me some stuff," and I'll have a bit of a read. And I've got a whole bunch. I have to be quite honest about it. Like, I'm probably not going to get this done for another month or two.
Yeah,
Or year.
Oh, yeah, because
I'm
I've got a
banking on
few
years
things to
now
do.
with things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they're aware of that, and that's fine. But you know, people have reached out, and I can like roll things into games and stuff. But there's so many games I want to try, so many games I've heard. I've got a couple of games and I've looked at and went, nah, not my cup of tea. I'm sure it's a great game for lots of people.
Yeah.
But I wasn't excited about it.
And
but
that's
then,
fine.
you know, I might get excited if I see someone else playing it, and well, actually, that's quite good.
Yeah.
I mean, Gaslands is one of those games I want to play.
Is that the car one?
Yeah, it's the car one.
I've
looks fun.
had a quick game of it.
Okay,
and
yeah.
It is fun.
It's a chunky rule book, and I looked at the rule book and I went,
I just had an intro game. I didn't go near the rule book.
I think that's where
just
I
had
need
an
to go,
intro
because
game.
Rob did the same with Shatterpoint. When I looked at the Shatterpoint rules, I was
Yeah.
like, ah!
I think it's better to
But-
have intro games
yeah.
than to like
It's key.
crunch big rule books. Obviously,
Yes.
do both. But I think starter games, as in like, so when you read the rule book, it's like, oh yeah, I know that, I get that, so you can kind of understand it a bit better.
Yeah, like rule books have to be so specific. Like having just like done the Age of Sigmar 4 rules review, you know, I'm like, okay, we're going to go through this, and like you have to keep reminding yourself, I need to explain everything
Yes,
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
person, like, and it gets really out there. But like, you know, it's really helpful, and then you get comments like, I didn't understand that. You're like, how do you understand that? I explained it, but people just really struggle to learn those
Yeah,
things
yeah.
sometimes.
I struggle. I'm a big rule struggler.
A big rule struggler.
I'm a lifelong rule struggler.
Same.
I am.
Said you're rules anonymous.
I am a rule struggler. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I do not understand basic
So,
rules.
Louise, where have you been,
I
and
was
what have you been
literally
doing for
gonna
the
ask,
past
'cause I
week?
wanna know. I
I've
wanna
been
know.
on an adventure.
Yeah, tell
Where
us.
have you been?
Where have I been? I went with Rob and the team, the stream team,
The stream team.
the dream team, the stream team.
Dan was part of the stream team, or was he
Dan-
part of?
Dan Say?
Yeah, was he part of Australia team or?
Yeah,
no, he was part of the commentary team.
Nice.
So yeah, I went to Amsterdam.
So technically, we didn't actually ever go to. Oh, you went to Amsterdam.
I did. You didn't. So it's just outside of Amsterdam. So we went to the Netherlands.
Yeah,
Netherlands. And we went to go to the Age of Sigmar Worlds Team Championship, aka Age of Sigmar Worlds.
Nice.
Which is like one of the biggest, I think, Age of Sigmar gaming events on the calendar. It's got
the word in it.
It's got to be big.
Yeah. It's the biggest international one.
Yeah.
It's huge. So big old hotel just outside of Amsterdam, really cool. And over the weekend, I saw hundreds of games of Age of Sigmar being played by, I think, over 230 players from over 26 different countries.
Nice.
And it was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was so much. And they were all playing Age of Sigmar 3. So it was like a kind of send-off to the edition, which was really cute. And yeah, I decided to get my camera out and just film them for
Did you ask their
5 days.
permission?
Yes, of
Did you
course.
follow them to like their hotel rooms as well?
No. I wasn't like hiding in the bush. Whenever I filmed a table, I went up and I was like, so I knew some teams that were okay with being filmed, right? So I think like Team Serbia, Team UN, USA, Ireland,
Team
Denmark. The UN.
So you know when you run an event,
Do they all have blue berets on?
No, they had blue shirts.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. One year they had bucket hats.
Oh, the little cow bucket hats.
I did not know this was a thing.
Yeah, because you need a spare team.
Yeah.
So basically, there were 25 national teams. 25 teams representing 24 countries. Because one of the teams, so to be clear, there was a team called Warhammer Players from Russia. So they were the Russian team, but they didn't want to represent their nation.
Okay.
So
got you.
therefore, so that was.
But we didn't want to like leave them out because they're like, we don't want to represent Russia.
Yeah. So they.
It's not their fault that some madman's in control of the
exactly. So I think that's really fair.
Yeah, but then that ended up with a spare team. So you need a spare team. So obviously they do a team UN, which obviously are called in not last minute, which is whatever the UN are normally called in, right? After the fact.
Yeah.
Switzerland didn't even try.
Yeah, didn't even try.
They just sat, chilling
I'm going
out.
next year as Team ICC, the International Criminal Court. It's going to be really serious.
Oh my God, I love that, actually.
But you were saying.
So I obviously, I asked their permission if I was filming because I just want to do a video about it because I think competitive Warhammer is a touchy subject. And this is something I kind of understand, but at the same time don't understand. And I find it really interesting because obviously I hang out a lot with Rob and every other weekend we have like what would be called competitive event. Right? Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say.
And every single time I'm in a room full of the loveliest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
There's like, and like, I'm sure it's the same on the narrative side, but then a lot of people, and not all people, seem to have this preconceived notion that competitive players are the equivalent of that guy at your local.
Yeah.
Right? So if you don't know what that guy is, I've described
You're
them.
it.
Yeah, it's you. That guys are basically people that aren't fun to play against in games of Warhammer because they want to win or because they're sore losers or bad winners. Everyone has experiences with those kind of people who turn up and make games unfun to play. I've had that. Rob's had that. You've definitely
many
probably.
times.
Yeah. You've played
many
loads
times.
of games. But that's not what I see when I go to competitive.
So it's incredibly rare.
But I mean, in the tons and tons of games I've had in my life, I've met one.
Yeah.
One. I met two, but I've only played against one. I was aware that another one existed, didn't play with them. No one did.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's interesting to me that kind of like, it feels like people have got the wrong impression of a community. And that to me feels a bit sad because I really like that community. Specifically Age of Sigmar competitive community. I don't know a lot about the 40k one.
It'll probably be very similar. Like truthfully, I'd like to think there's some sort of superiority in Age of Sigmar fans who are like watching this, like, Rob, go on, it's time to put the boot in. But
I got a lot of messages saying like the 40k one is really toxic, but I don't know them, so I don't want to make an opinion on that.
I'd like to throw some personal bias in there, but probably not. Yeah. Like truthfully,
I don't know them personally, so this is literally a personal piece about people that I know.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, and that's the only thing.
I just want to be clear. I think in the same situation, you'll hear a couple of horror stories about the 40k community. Yeah. But like Age of Sigmar, 99% 99.9% of the people are amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's what I said in the video. I'm like, I can't make an opinion because I don't know them. But yeah, so I just got out my camera and I just filmed a room full of people hugging.
Oh.
Hugging for 5 days. That's
nice, that's nice.
I have an entire tab in my thing, which is just men hugging. And it's mostly the captain of the Australian team just kissing Greek people on the head.
A lot.
Amazing.
He did a lot of smooching that week. And like, I didn't expect that. I expected, like, I filmed a lot of very serious players playing very serious games, but I also filmed 2 ogre players who, whenever they rolled dice, would shake their bellies.
Okay. Yeah.
And like,
is that for look?
Yeah.
For the gut magic.
For the gut magic, yeah. But like, I saw, like, if you had shown me the footage I'd taken and then slapped the word "this was a narrative event" on it, I'd have been like, yeah.
Oh,
It is.
interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Like, because like they were wearing like the jerseys. I find really funny.
Okay,
like,
can you explain the jerseys out?
Okay, so there's like the sportification of it a little bit that I was like, ooh, is that going to be weird? Because it's Warhammer, because it's elves and
What do you
dragons.
think, Peach?
So I've always thought that like you turn what is to me a game into a sport,
And
it
an
feels,
elf dragon game as well.
Yeah.
Like
But
yeah.
I get it if it's like you're doing team events, right? You want a team to be unified by a shirt or a jersey.
It was funny. It was really funny. I found it hilarious. So for example, hate football. I think it's terrible. I don't like the vibe that comes from football.
You mean soccer?
Soccer.
Yeah.
No, like English football fans.
Yeah,
Like
I think
they
it's
make me
incredibly
scared.
fair to say, like, as a 6'2" fella,
As a man
which
in
might
the
surprise
hobby.
people, and a man in the hobby, which finds it really hard.
Yeah.
Like, if I was to get a train on a Saturday full of football fans, it's an awful experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I
As
can't
a woman,
imagine.
worse.
I can't imagine what that's like as a woman.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely can't. So, like, I would understand why someone would find that an uncomfortable experience.
But whenever the World Cup is on, I find it really hilarious because of the international banter.
Yeah.
I find it really funny because people love supporting their country. Like, the French will be the most French you've ever seen them. Like, they'll be just like waving around baguettes and stuff. I find it really fun. And that's kind of the energy that was brought to Age of Sigmar Worlds. Like, the Greek team were teaching people how to do like the Greek dance and stuff. And like, the national costumes were really funny. Like, the Welsh team had a little red dragon that they carried around with them. And Matt Malla had his dragon hat, which was so cool. And I loved it. I thought it kind of like, it takes it a bit away from it being like, oh, I am the High General of the Elves and I cast the magic thing, but makes it more of like a fun game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it
see
does,
that.
I think it does like take a step back from I am commanding my elves and I am the elf lord.
Yeah.
But also it's good in a kind of like a fun international way that people are excited to represent their countries and excited to be there and excited to play against their like opponents from, I think, like, I don't know, like, wasn't like the Belgium team like flipping off America in like the restaurant and stuff and everyone was laughing. It's funny. It's so funny.
I've got a question about this.
Yeah.
So I've always been interested because I've never witnessed like
It's
nations doing
so
it.
interesting.
When you have like painting competitions, you can tell. I guess maybe it's not the same now, but certainly when I was early days in the army painting team and working with heavy metal, you'd have like a Polish style, you'd have like a
The
Spanish style,
yeah.
You'd have like the Italian style, the German style, and then obviously the heavy metal style, which was like very UK based. Do you find that there's like I mean, you'll probably be able to answer this better, but
I'm out.
But you might have seen it as well.
No.
Is there a style of play that's very national?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Tell us about that.
Okay. There's so many things to unpack with that. Number one, the interesting thing is that, especially in the past, communities were siloed away from each other because playing games like, I need someone else to play. And so you would end up having to play someone and then you would develop even if you all interpreted a rule as one thing, then you go to the international stage and you're like, actually everyone plays it differently. You're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. So that's like, so there's that. And then there's also like, so for instance, chess clocks. Now a lot of people are going to...
I never mentioned those in my video. I forgot to do that.
Yeah, so chess clocks are like always a burning issue in in Warhammer events. It's because, and I want to be really clear, Warhammer is not a game you can play in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? Like a 2,000 point match play game of Age of Sigmar or 40k is generally generally not a game you could play in 3 hours. Or that's what they give you in the rule book. It's like with, recently they've been like, spearhead. Play it on your lunch. I'm like, I don't have a 2-hour lunch. They're like, but it's done in 60 minutes. I'm like, that's wrong. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Right? It's a marketing thing. So like, if you've ever played any games, some like people are like, I finished a game in that time. Well, fair enough. But I would say generally it's a push. And if you want to socialize with someone, generally it takes a lot longer.
Or read your rules as you're doing it. Or
especially if you're not like, I know everything to heart.
That was a big one for me, is that I always was quite slow at playing games because I'd be constantly checking my rule book because I can't remember stat lines.
So like a chess clock is like incredibly common. A chess clock is mandatory at Worlds. Like, it's mandatory. So you and your opponent play with each other and you get half the time each, which feels incredibly fair. Then you get some silly people being like, well, I've got a horde army, my army takes longer. That's your problem. That's your problem. You get half of the time. That's super fair.
So, devil's advocate, people with chess clocks who say, that's not fun. It sounds like you're sucking all the fun out of Warhammer.
I tell you what's not fun is playing a 3-hour game where you play for 30 minutes.
Yeah. That's fair.
I tell you, that's what's not fun. Right?
What, like you're playing against a horde army?
Or even just someone who just takes forever to make a decision. Like,
you think that if you turn up to a game of Warhammer, especially if you've paid to be there, like a tournament, you're entitled by the price of your ticket to half the time at each of your games.
I think that sounds really fair.
It sounds fair, doesn't it?
I think that sounds really fair.
I think people get scared of things that like make it more regiment and make it not a beer and pretzel game. But it's just two different styles of playing, isn't it?
That's the difference between tournament and championships as opposed to playing for fun, right?
I've seen people, Peach.
I've seen people for fun. They're still playing.
They're having a great time.
Yeah.
I've seen people click on their clock, as in their time is running down, and they'll be like, do you want to go to the bar? And they'll be like, because they're like, don't worry about it. It's on my time. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, so then because you're allocated that time, you can be generous with that time. Does that make sense? You can be like,
I've only got one thing to move. Let's go get a drink.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, actually, I'm taking, like, someone's calling me right now. Do you mind? I'm just going to go take this. I hope that's all right. It's obviously on my clock. I'm just going to go do this.
Fair. So the time doesn't run out, and you're like looking at that guy being like, did he take that call just so I wouldn't have time to do my final
like
turn?
it kind of removes like the like not animosity, but like like the you're not sure, especially if it's someone new. And I'm not saying advocating it for a local club, but the point is, so then you go to the international stage, and some people are like, oh, I don't really like clocks, or oh, I don't want to use a clock, and then they run into this like cultural difference. Where they're like, whereas like Europeans, for instance, use the clocks all the time. In England, shout out to Big Phil. I don't think Phil watches this, but Big Phil. But a couple of maybe a year ago, he tweeted, "It was like, maybe we should all use chess clocks in England." And the English community were like, "You're a piece of shit, Big Phil. You should die."
Right? Oh my god! Well, this is why I'm scared to make this video. Like, because I never do touchy subjects on my channel. Like, it's just I know like a lot of them would get clicks and stuff, but it's just not the vibe I want to bring to my channel. But all I want to do is showcase a wonderful community of happy people who seem to have a lovely time gaming. But unfortunately, in doing so, I feel like I might be opening up. You're not.
Like, the thing is...
I did put a disclaimer at the beginning saying, don't bully me, I'm just a girl. With maybe a picture of a crying kitten. So I'm hoping that'll deter some of the potential.
But to your point, Peach, therefore, some people turn up. Like, so some cultures, so the Americans, shout out to the Americans, there's a bunch of the guys who don't drink, so I want to be clear, but they have a really good drinking culture while they're also playing.
They're party-time players.
They're party-time players. Like that was actually the problem with the Canadian team. Love the Canadians. The Canadian team, half the team were there to play, and half of the team would like drink and be social because they're seeing their friends from all over the world. So there was that disconnect in the team, and therefore the team did badly because they didn't understand what they were there for. Does that make sense? So like the cultural kind of like impact of these different communities coming together. Then you got team organization. Like the French team have like an academy and this.
They take it there. So like when
too
we
seriously,
say,
too seriously.
Do you think too seriously? See,
but then that's not their fault. They get pressurized. Maybe it's something I'll talk about in the Patreon video, but like,
spice.
They, I think that's too spicy for the internet, but I think that they end up with a lot of pressure on them as individuals, which I think is unnecessary.
Is it unfair?
I think it's unfair.
Do you not think they're having as much fun as they maybe could be?
Sorry about that. I think they're not having as much fun as they could be because they're having external pressure.
So I didn't film the French tables because it looked like they were taking it quite seriously. So I didn't even ask their permission. I just didn't want to get in the way.
But you have to remember they're part of like an organization which spends about 8 months leading up to this event. Right, so this is a big deal. Whereas like some of the other communities are smaller, like the Greeks.
I love the Greeks. And Serbia, they're great.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of like the cultural differences is really going away because obviously with the internet, being able to play on Tabletop Simulator, like where you can obviously play games, which most of the teams are. Like one of the teams, like Australia, for example, was so disparate. They had a guy, the captain was based in Japan, Australian based in Japan. They have a guy who's in Perth, which couldn't be any further away from every like existence. And then like one of their players was in Hungary. Their coach is in the UK. So they're
all over.
All over. But they're all playing on TTS together, and then they ended up coming fourth.
Yeah, they
out of
smashed
2016.
it.
They did really, really
Which
well.
is really interesting, given that their team was just like dispersed over like maybe 4 countries.
Yes, but it also meant that like there was a very accepted standard of how to play. But do different teams have different approaches? Absolutely. Some teams build armies where there's like just always a lot of bodies.
Yeah.
Some teams build like aggro armies. Some people just build the armies that work for them. In some cases, like Serbia is a good example, Czech Republic, obviously the national, this is a problem that we never talk about enough. Like it's really resplendent at 40k. The national wage is much lower.
Okay.
But the Games Workshop products aren't any cheaper.
That's so interesting.
Like,
I
or
hadn't
Canada,
thought about
or
that.
like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, America, just get charged more money.
And the event is not cheap to go to.
Yes. So they get charged more money for minis. So actually, if they have an army, that's their army.
Yeah.
Or maybe they've got a second army. So like actually there's obviously, and there always is in sports, a wealth disparity. So there's actually loads of really interesting things about each individual team, how they get there, how they organize the teams, like if they're a representation of their community, how they integrate their community. Like the Americans have this new system called the Minutemen.
You should make a video about this as well, because my video and your video would be very different.
I think the thing about your video though, which
Mine's
I think
a vibe check.
Well, but I actually think that's so important. Like what I'm saying now, I think I can hear people just close their minds down.
Well, this is why I think a lot of people get worried, because they'll have that guy experience, and then they'll be like, okay, I'll listen to you, right? Who's like,
they won't listen to me. That's the point.
No,
I think from that point on,
if they do, you'll just be like, yeah, it's really common. We use chess clocks, and in their head, they're like, oh, so it's not fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they're already closed to me. So when I went on to when Peachy had me interviewed,
we've all been like raised in Warhammer with like I start the video like that by saying like, you know, the words cheesy, beardy, meta chasing, stuff like that, and that guy, right? These are all things that I think have been put on people that competitively play Warhammer.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I got this comment on my YouTube, and it was like, I hate competitive players because of this. And the story sounded like really not good. It was a guy, he was at a tournament and he lost against someone, and that person like followed him around all day.
That's incredibly unnormal behavior.
That's what I said. I replied and I was like, this doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard of before. It sounds like this person was mentally unwell, and that means it's a shame for both of them.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, but this, like,
don't put that voodoo on me, Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
Don't put that voodoo on me.
Yeah. So, and I think a lot of the people, because I opened up my DMs to be like, what do you guys think? Because I genuinely want to know, and to know what, like, kind of things that I want to talk about and things that I can, like, say this isn't true and whatever. But a lot of them was like, I hate competitive players. There's this one guy at my local who's a dickhead. And it's interesting because I think competitive... and I made a tweet about this as well. I said, like, I think a better term to use for tournament players is tournament players, not competitive players. Because competitive kind of, especially in the UK, I think, makes me shudder. Like, I don't want someone to describe me as competitive, because then I'm like aggressive. I'm in opposition to fun. I'm doing something like almost wrong by being competitive in what should be an agreement of we're both going to have a fun game.
Yeah.
So I tried to be like, maybe we should just call them tournament players, and the competitive guy is that guy at your local meeting.
So I call them event players, tournament players. Actually, so in order to engage with people, I don't use the C word like
I used
as much.
it loads in my video,
Yeah.
and now I regret it.
No. Like, I understand, and I try and use other words
I
as
didn't do
much
it on
as.
purpose.
No, because it's like it's a catch-all term. It's really valuable, and it makes a lot of sense. Like one of the.
But it does sound negative.
It does. It's because it's been loaded. One of the funny things is like one of the things that's really common now, because I think this conversation, at least in the community that I'm a part of, has become really mature. Like
good.
and while we as a group understand it, like I was just streaming today and someone was like, "Oh, the army list you're describing sounds cheesy," and I had to be like, the word you're using is not a real word. I mean, cheesy is a real word, but like the thing that you're trying to say is not real. You're having an emotional response to something you don't understand, and what you need to do is take a step back.
So if this is the one thing where I'm like, okay, how do we get our heads around this? So how do we? So building a list with the intention of being a better Warhammer player isn't cheesy.
No.
Is that just like because the way I think of it is it's just another way of having fun.
Yes.
But, and that's fine and that's valid, right?
Yeah, I think
it's super valid. Can I just?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the maturity of the conversation is that we're at the stage where, if you want, like for instance, I was at Worlds and I was taking a picture of my friend Bread, who's representing Team UN.
He's eaten entire eggs raw on YouTube. We'll insert a link here.
Bread has. Drop in for my musical Bread interlude now.
Tommy G. Trying to grudge me. Well, for my response video, I was thinking I could just try and do some heinous shit on camera. Get some shock value. Do something crazy. But I'm a true artist. So I made something for you.
Yeah, you know who it is. Bread coming at you. Coming for you, Tommy G. Coming for Nash Khan. Coming for the boys. Coming for the homies. I'm coming for everyone, but I'm coming for mostly you. Big man Tommy G, gonna try and challenge me. Searching for a burn, I'm sorry sir, it's looking third degree. Nash Con, first round, you know this shit is going down. Game is about to be a joke and heads up bro, you the clown. Meta chase with OBR, carried by a Mortis guard. You ride an arc and stick, I'm getting pegged from a bliss barb. Start of a tragedy, Catacross is on his knees, writing the story of how Bread slayed Tommy G. Yeah, You know what's good? Just gave you a little taste. And what was with that video, man? Showing the dogs on the internet like that? That's crazy. Only dog you gotta worry about is that dog I got in me, son. Let's get it. You think you can win, it's really a sin when truly your army belongs in the bin. Don't give me the double, cause then you in trouble. You're losing your toys and it won't be subtle. Foot on the gas, eating some ass. This round is about to be over fast. No need to be rash, we know that you're trash. I got a bigger bone than the gash. Rolling the dice, keeping it nice. Even this flow is cold as ice. I'll never be stale, but plugged with a tail like yeast. I rise while you will fail. Round the bend, approaching the end. I'll be seeing you soon, my friend. Your heart must have sank. I know I've been frank and enjoy the rest of this filthy stank.
right? I'm going to cut that in. That's going to be very
Okay,
good.
has
right?
anyone checked on Tommy G?
Yeah. I'm going to drop this in the middle.
We got to show you this afterwards. Brian's unhinged. We
so
love it.
anyway, I was taking a picture of me and my friend Brad. Brad was representing Team UN. Now, one of the interesting things is Brad just won an event recently in the US. Well, he didn't win. He went 4-1. He might have gone 5-0, but he went 4-1. But basically, he did really well. And the important part was he took loads of Skaven Scryer acolytes. You know, the metal monopose.
Yeah.
So Noah, for some reason, had like 50, which is which is like $2,000 worth of minis, right, or something. But Noah was like, because Noah's hilarious. Noah's like, I don't need these. Brad, you have these, right? And they gave them to Brad, and Brad was like eyes lit up like a child. He's like, no, Noah, thanks. And they like painted them all up, and then took him to an event, and he won loads of games with them, right? And it was amazing. It was like such a meme in his community, right? And then he's also at Worlds playing with that same list with all these meta models. And he was like, everything that happened on the plane is like the only thing that matters is my case. This case is worth more than my car, right? He's just like, this is all I care about. Anyway, so me and Brad are taking a picture, and then someone else took a photo. My friend Jacob shared it, and then me and Brad are just smiling because he's got his head fucking. You'll see after you've watched the video now, so now you know.
He's weird.
And Jacob just shares it. He goes, I hate toxic competitive Warhammer players. And that's what I do all the time. Every time I see someone do something
They were
nice,
doing
I'm
the
like,
YMCA before it started.
yeah, every time I take a picture of one of my mates who's at an event, I'm like, I hate toxic Warhammer players.
Literally.
Because we're at the stage now in the community, I think, where it's ironic.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's not to a lot of people. It is to the people in the competitive community, but to a lot of people outside of it, I don't think they get to see that. And I think they think because certainly me before, and maybe it was because the internet wasn't as big or something, but when I was playing at my locals, I didn't know what was happening outside my local.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I didn't watch a lot of Warhammer YouTube. There wasn't a lot of Warhammer YouTube. I wasn't on a lot of forums or Facebook groups or all I knew was that there was a guy in my local who was the competitive player.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's always been really
he was a
interesting is there's a room full of people having fun, right? This is how it feels. There's a room full of people having fun, and then occasionally someone walks in who's like, "You're all dicks," and you're like, and then they leave, and you're like, "Okay, cool." It has zero effect.
So something I want to say is when I chatted to you, last year, whenever it was on the phase, you opened my eyes a lot to tournament play because I always had that impression.
Everyone does.
Yeah, and it's really sad because I think it's not true and it is a perception as opposed to a truth. And I've had bad experiences for sure. And some of that is people, because I worked in retail, so you'd see those mentalities. And sometimes depending on the retail managers, this is what I always found really interesting, and it's true, that the community in that store was based on how the manager acted.
Yes.
This is something I hear a lot. We had a great manager in Aberdeen, so we're lucky.
Leadership.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were an all-round store, so it was 40K. We did a lot of Lord of the Rings, heavily Lord of the Rings. So as a store, we were more Lord of the Rings heavy.
It was
with our
of the
sales.
time as well.
Of the
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But lots of the stores in the region didn't do so well with Lord of the Rings. They were more 40K or Warhammer because their managers liked 40K or like Warhammer, whereas we, the staff and myself, liked all of them. But we had a great gaming community because of the way we play. But that's just the way we play. I would say it was a great gaming community, but actually maybe now on reflection, it wasn't inclusive to all because I like narrative games and I liked storytelling, but actually people that wanted to learn how to do tournament play couldn't get that.
One of the interesting...
I think a lot of stores are just maybe we'll not do as much Age of Sigmar because 40K just sells more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Also, there's it's not one or the other. It's not like I'm I'm a competitive player, so I don't care about the story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Tournament player, or you could even say
term.
event players.
Event players, yeah.
It sounds way less scary.
Yeah, and a lot of the time I hear a lot of the worst guys have been people that are like, I'm a really narrative player.
Yes.
I'm a really narrative fluffy player.
Yeah, I hate the word fluff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and then,
also, Phil Kelly hates it, so I hate it.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I think.
What else does Phil Kelly like and hate? So I know what to like.
It's just the debris from your belly button, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I think he hates the term flavor text because, I think this is right, and if I'm wrong, obviously tell me in the comments.
I think Wade said this as well, that he doesn't like the word fluff because it kind of undermines what they do.
That's what
really
Phil
fair,
said. Phil said the flavor, because flavor text is what you get on a card,
Yes,
right? And
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, oh, there's flavor text, and Phil's like, it's pretty disrespectful to me. obviously as one of the
Right.
chief
It
kind
was
of
Andy
background
Horror or
writers.
someone as well said that. I think they all kind of feel the same way.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fair.
Like it's like
That's fair.
they don't they
It's just-
they at least as creatives don't see it as flavor text.
Yeah, it's just a term I thought people use, so I used it. And then I
Oh
felt
yeah,
bad.
no, I agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
and I used it before.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Phil
But
I
was
think-
like, Rob, don't do that. I was
Yeah.
like,
But yeah, like I was saying, I think like, so, and in my video, I'm like, because I do a little bit about like how you might accidentally have a game against someone who's also trying to enjoy the hobby their way, and then it goes really badly wrong, and then that may cement an idea of that guy in your
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
And at the end, I'm like, this just doesn't include crappy people.
Yeah.
It doesn't include like bad winners and sore losers and people that just are like, oh yeah, we'll have a really casual game. I'll bring a really fluffy list, and then they just table you in 10 minutes and
Yeah.
then they brag about it for a week.
Yeah.
So important to know. If you ask me,
That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Those people are just shit.
Yeah, are
And
there
they exist.
are there dicks in the tournament scene? Absolutely,
Yes.
because there's dicks in life. But my experience is that there's a lot less dicks like playing at. Sorry, Louise.
Not from what I saw, Rob.
There's a lot. There's a lot less dicks at like an event than you would normally get like in normal life, if that makes sense.
Well,
And, like,
you're just going through your life playing Warhammer games.
yeah, and also like one of the things, like Peachy is a really good example of this, but kind of
Great
like
example.
maybe like slightly opposite end. But like all of the people at an event are normally closers. That's the way I
What's
try.
a closer?
So
That's where you
like,
kill someone at the end now.
yeah, no. Like what I mean by that is like they learn, especially Worlds is a good example. So like I think that there's an almost direct correlation between being an event player and being generally successful in your life, and that doesn't.
What? This sounds like some podcast. Oh wait, we are on a podcast. Hang on.
I'm not.
But you know what I mean.
But it's also okay. A good example would be I'll flip it on its head and I'll just talk about Andy Wardle from the other week.
Oh, we love him.
Okay, so Andy is smart.
Oh yeah, he's like actually good at stuff.
He's
and-
good at loads of stuff.
Yeah, he's so good. He's so like good.
He's organised. He gets his
works
shit
out.
together. He works out. He ran a gym. He ran his own businesses. Is it any surprise?
He relaxes whilst painting.
He relaxes while painting. So is it any surprise that someone who is really effective,
Well-rounded as a human?
No, not well-rounded, but really effective. He's not well-rounded. He gets panicked when he paints brown wrong.
That's fair.
He's not well-rounded.
No, that's completely that's valid. That's normal.
No offense, Andy. We follow each other on Instagram now, which is quite funny. And I'm like,
why is that funny?
I don't know. I'm like, what's he going to
likes
see?
you.
Nothing useful from me.
A wee bit of slap chop. It's fine.
Anyway, what I was going to say is like Andy. It's unsurprising that Andy, as someone who can run successful businesses, do a load of stuff. Is it any wonder that that person can also plan very complex projects like Golden Demon projects
No.
and bring them to fruition multiple times?
No,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
just
yeah.
good at stuff.
He's just good at stuff.
I mean, he works very hard to be just good at stuff.
Exactly.
But he works really hard to be good at stuff.
And is efficient and effective, and that's kind of what I mean by.
Are we
corner-
just all just like flirting on Andy right now?
Yeah, yeah,
We're saying a lot of
absolutely.
compliments.
Yeah. Peachy's not. Peachy hates him. That's a joke. Peachy now has to
Cut it there.
defend it.
Just cut it there.
End show. He doesn't, Andy. That's true. He doesn't.
Crikey!
What I was going to say, Louise, is Rob thinks we're completely the opposite of that. Then.
No, that's not what I think.
What did you say?
I think no.
No, I'm joking. I'm pulling you
I'm
back.
not.
What
We're
I'm
not
trying to say
closers, we're not
is I think
closers.
I'm a closer for this freaking relationship. You'll get your shit together. I will end our roommate ship right now.
They are just roommates.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
it's
just
a
roommates.
situationship. Who knew?
This shit situation. Anyway.
What I was trying to say was
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
like it's unsurprising that most of the people you meet at, especially something like Worlds,
Yeah.
who organizing a team of 8 people. Anyone out there tried to organize a D&D session with 4 people?
Nightmare.
Have you ever from their house on Skype
yeah,
where they've
yeah,
got to do
yeah.
0?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to make 8 people fly across the world to complete in a high level tournament? Like I
can't imagine.
If you fully build and paint any Warhammer or wargaming army, you're already, I think, in a percent, like a very small percentage
Yeah.
of the general population of Warhammer fans.
There were so many of my gremlin friends there, though.
What do you mean?
I like how we've gone from like, oh, maybe competitive players aren't that bad to like, if you play tournaments, you're probably really hot. Like,
That's not what I meant.
you're
That's not what I was saying.
saying. If you're a tournament player, you're probably quite successful and
your
actually
shit together, man.
really
I was
handsome.
just saying, it takes a lot of like. Okay,
If you're a competitive Warhammer player, you probably got like, I don't know, 8 girlfriends.
You'll get there, Rob. You'll get
got
there.
like 8 girlfriends.
That's not what I was trying to say
And
at all.
bitches love you. And you're probably not a virgin. It uses AI.
I was just trying to say that you generally tend to meet a lot of like. I don't mean because success can be anything. You could be a successful binman. Yeah, like success is a measurement you set for yourself.
I'm successful at anxiety.
Yes, you are.
You
well
are.
done.
You're very
well
good.
done. You set that goal and you smashed it.
Thank you.
But what I mean is like building and painting and putting an army together is a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
And these people do it generally multiple times and they play their game at a pretty high level. I think that's actually quite a lot of achievement. And it's unsurprising
sure.
then that those people also weirdly are also fairly like at least semi-successful like to their own standard in their life.
And like normal is a word that I don't like to use, but like a lot of the time they're pretty emotionally well regulated.
Yeah.
Like they come to a table and they're like, might lose, did my best. I'm just gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of the things actually I've taken away.
They probably wouldn't be on a national team or like flown to another country to play games, like to represent their country and play games with other people if at some point like loads of people were like, he's terrible to play against.
Yeah.
He's a horrible guy. Like he's like a terrible person. Like chances are they haven't made the vet to get onto their national team if they're like that.
100%.
I like to think.
That's definitely true, and like in most cases, the thing that I take away from the tournament scene or the event scene, whatever, is the personal emotional growth. So like I want to shout out Tom Legends, who was really sweet,
Tom,
who runs the event this weekend. So he's the tournament organizer.
Yeah.
But he's also
so cute.
But ultimately he's like the head ref. And if there's a problem, he's the person who has to resolve the problem.
Yeah.
Like
It's hard to be the fun dad, but also like do the kind
stuff.
of like tough stuff. Yeah.
exactly. Right. So
But-
like, yeah, that's so watching people like develop personal skills.
Yeah.
Like be like, okay, I've got to go and have a tough conversation now, or okay, like this
But they
guy's
do
being a
it.
knob. I'm just gonna just be like, hey, you're being a knob. Like, stop being a knob. Not that that was very common.
Yeah.
But
like,
I think like people would be surprised to know that, you know how if there's that guy in your local who's an asshole, everyone talks about it and maybe you don't play games with him anymore.
Yeah.
That happens at the highest level of the tournament scene as well.
but also like,
and it's policed really well by the
but
community.
it's the policing that I think it doesn't
Yeah.
happen in your local gaming
Yes,
store.
yeah,
Like if
yeah.
someone's a knob, like everyone's like, oh, he's a bit of a knob. But I'm like,
It's too awkward to kind of tell him to go. And
yeah, but if you
stuff.
have a bit more leadership, and that's one of the things that I think that I'm a better person for having played at events and been
and
at
maybe
events.
hotter and like has, and has loads of babes and like and like super successful and maybe has like 8 NFT monkeys. Like
Again, I reference.
I'm not hanging out anymore. It is hard to be a man in the hobby. I'm trying to talk about the fact that, like,
Have you still got your mug, by the way?
yes, it's over there.
Tina stole it.
Yeah, no, I saw.
You know, so
So-
like being because I know you both and several people have always talked about mental health in the hobby and
Yeah.
We
painting.
always are just banging on about it.
Banging on
Banging
about it. Yeah. Fucking sick of it, I am. All right, but you're talking about mental health and like how painting has been effective and all these other things. But I don't know if there's a more like you go play an event on the weekend, you meet some people, you share some life experiences, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm having that problem too," or
Yeah.
"I'm having a downtime." Like I think mental health wise, gaming has been incredibly supportive to me, and I think many other people.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that doesn't get covered quite as much as.
I think this is something I noticed.
Okay,
so,
go
like,
for it.
So in the video, like I said, at several points, I'm like, I wasn't at the tables. I wasn't playing the games. I am very much, and I use the word tourist here, and I'm like, I hate that word, but I kind of was. I was there to do a vibe check on the players. So I would maybe have more. I did. I vibe checked.
yeah, the vibe police. I've got a Tamagotchi in a skirt. I'm ready to vibe check.
But yeah, I was, and I judged the painting competition, which is fun. But that's like an aside.
I would like to ask more about that in a moment.
Yeah. But I was there to do a vibe check. And I say several times, I'm like, I wasn't at the tables. I didn't play any games. Maybe I'd have more to say if I wasn't. But all I saw was a room full of people just having a really wonderful time. And that's what I want my video to be about.
Yeah.
I want it to be about people maybe understanding that, like, from my experience, these competitive people aren't the same as that guys in the local. They're people that, like people who enter Golden Demon to win, they're having fun doing it. They're enjoying the hobby in their own way, and they're getting together with like-minded people who also enjoy the hobby in that way. And 9 out of 10 times, they're extremely friendly, well-rounded, understanding, and caring individuals that I don't think deserve the stigma of, I was followed around by a guy who smelled bad and who kept saying that I didn't deserve to win the game. Because it's very
it's
not that.
different.
Yeah.
It's very not that. And I have video evidence of it.
How long is your video?
It's racking up at about 25 minutes long.
So anyone that hates tournament players and that kind of scene are probably not going to watch that and just comment anyway.
But they might hate watch it and learn something.
Well, they won't though. They won't.
Shit.
I get that.
I think Louise is the perfect medium for this because it's actually a video I've wanted to make for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it. I feel unbiased because I am the dumb little player that makes the clip-clop noises who has had really
That's
bad
why you're the
experiences.
perfect medium to make the video.
I worry that people are going to think I'm biased.
So I did my Warcry video recently that was released last week.
Yeah.
I know full well that there's, because I basically say Warcry is the best games that Games Workshop makes.
Yeah.
I actually explained that more in the video, saying it's the best current game in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion. That's not fact, because Age of Sigmar 4 is probably going to be just as good.
I mean,
Spearhead's
who
going to be
knows?
just as good.
Who knows?
But
Probably
I'm talking
you
about. In fact, I think I've narrowed it down to it being their best fantasy skirmish game
Wow.
currently.
Either way.
And then it's what I'm not including, and I make it very clear, I'm not including Lord of the Rings in that, and I'm not including More Time because they're no longer available.
Yeah.
It is a great skirmish game, but I know people, and that was within the first 15 seconds. So I got lots of comments going, More Time's better. No, Necromunda's better. No, you're wrong because this.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's like you've literally not watched more than 15 seconds.
I've had so many videos like that where I will say something 30 seconds into the video and 5 seconds in, they're like, I hate this.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to get that. Regardless
I know,
of
but
people because people just want to hate for the sake of it.
They do. But I just so my channel, like I said, rounding back off to where I started, doesn't deal with touchy subjects because it's supposed to be a very positive place where people come not to be like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to be mad at this. And I feel like I'm showcasing something which fits that vibe, which is just a wonderful event full of wonderful people.
Can I say something that I like? I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry
Please
if I have.
speak, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't want to be too heavy-handed, but I would really appreciate that video going out from a personal perspective, not even professional perspective, personal perspective.
Professional.
Because one of the things that I've kind of taken on my shoulders over the years is to have this conversation time and again, and be like, no, these people are nice people.
It's a tricky one to have because you don't want to put down anyone's personal experience.
Well, the thing is though, is you would if I was to be like, oh, I hate all old minis, you'd be like, no, old hammer's super cool. Shut up.
You literally say that weekly.
Yeah, I do. Right. But I honestly feel like it's a certain level of bigotry. Bigotry is a strong word.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a bias that people have, and it's in imagine if I went to Golden Demon, or I called everyone that did Golden Demon a dickhead,
a tryhard,
like a tryhard every time.
Yeah.
And anyone who I could meet every time I was online, everything in my life was geared towards telling people how much I disliked that they tried hard at painting.
Yeah.
At a certain point.
It's sad. It makes me
I would never
sad.
gain any current traction because obviously it's ludicrous, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't gain any traction with that, but because it's dumb, it's a dumb thing to say. But that is a current persistent thing that gets said, and
it would make me really sad.
So what
if
I'm trying to say is
I hate people that paint Rascal Town goblins all the time online, I would probably be really upset by it. And if it was a common opinion, I'd be really upset.
So what I'm saying is, Louise, I think this is maybe one of the most forced for good videos that you can make. I don't think this is controversial. It's only controversial because of already existing hatred.
That makes me not want to do it. I think it's scary.
So I mean, I've had my mind changed by Rob. So I always had this perception that it was full of those guys.
No.
Those guys because when I was a retail manager, you would see those guys and you would educate those guys because I remember years.
And those
a great
guys
example.
definitely exist.
I'm not saying they don't.
Yeah, I mean, some of that was just laziness. Some of that was just taking advantage because it was about the win, and
some
that
of them
was
are just
more
bullies that just want to kick around the little
Well,
guy.
this is true, and I think some of it was, and I'm going through this with Charlie, which is like they don't know how to lose and they don't know how to win.
Yeah, knowing how to lose is this is what I mean about like
Yeah.
being a better person.
Emotions are big and really
Like
hard
I
to
know
deal
how to
with.
lose so much better.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
because of losing a lot of
Yeah,
Warhammer.
yeah.
Like I know how to like interact with people. I know how to be in a losing position and try to just make my opponent have a good time.
Yeah.
I understand about being more communicative because I'm like, oh, I should express myself better in this game so the other person can
So that's
understand.
a really interesting point, because at the highest level competitive tournament thing, which was what I saw at the weekend, you'd think that there would be so many more emotions at stake in
Yeah.
losing a game, but every game ended with a handshake and a hug.
So the only time I've got emotion about a game is I've attended a handful of tournaments in my life, and some of those were double, some of those were like grand tournaments like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And most of those games, I'd like to say 80 to 90% of those games were great, good
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
There was like a handful that weren't, and that was because the person I was playing against didn't know how to play and be graceful in winning.
Regulate their emotions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what that did for me was, I know I'm going to lose. To me, that losing just is fine. I accept. And usually when I play games like when we did on live, it helped tell the story on the next stage.
Yeah,
So me losing was just like, so this has happened. So now I'm going to see what happens to this unit. Do they die? Do they change their flag because they've
Yeah.
lost their flag or whatever?
It's just part of the
Yeah.
story. Yeah.
Whereas in that tournament game, it was, I feel like I've wasted my time against this person when I could have been playing against someone else that was more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the emotional response I had from that, was not because it was a bad game, not because
But
it was...
you felt like there was something at stake, or like,
well, from that person's point of view, from mine, it was just
Yeah.
I just wanted to play a game and have fun, but I didn't get that.
Yeah.
It's
that-
because
that hit.
it's because and I tried to be really tender about this. Like if you're at a tournament, that's what you're at.
Yeah.
Like the social contract for the other person having fun is something that we like. A lot of people in the tournament scene self-administer. Like I buy a ticket to go to an event. Yeah, I just got to let you know about what all my stuff does.
Yeah.
Explain everything fairly and be correct. Yeah, and that's all I have to do.
Yeah.
I have no need to be your dancing monkey.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to
I
be
would
like.
be your dancing
Do you know what I mean? I
monkey.
don't need to go to the bar and buy you a drink. There's a bunch of stuff I don't need to do.
Yeah.
Most of the tournament scene actually go way beyond what I think is like, the very base standard of like what would
turning
be very
up to a game and kind of muttering what you're going to do as you do
not
it.
muttering, like being very communicative,
Yeah.
clear and,
No,
and
I'm saying
professional.
like in a bad example. that
Yeah,
would
like
be-
no, I'm trying to say the very basic level
Oh, okay.
of example. Like chess is a good example, right? So chess, you have normal chess, like fast chess or whatever, or chess you would see like with like some of the big chess players in the world that's televised, and they're not talking to each other. Like no one watches Queen's Gambit and be like, I can't believe that bitch tried to learn how to play chess well.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, no.
Wow, what a try hard.
What a cock.
She is ruining it for everyone else that just wants to. I bet she's not fun to play against.
Well, have you ever seen Street Chess?
Yes, there's this where they're like in like New York or whatever.
Yeah,
and-
they're like
Rob,
playing
Rob
that table.
loves it.
I love it, and they're giving each other shit all the time, and they're like talking. But like, if you've never watched it and you're watching this
They're
now,
just talking shit while playing chess.
They're just talking
Yeah.
shit while playing chess, right? And it's like completely like quote unquote unprofessional. You would be kicked out of like a quote unquote regular tournament
Yeah, yeah.
because there's like an accept standard of behavior, right? Like, and then like rugby is a good example. Rugby, you don't fuck around, yeah, because like you'll be told.
Do you
Whereas
not?
in football, no, like rugby is like like the ref's rule is law. Whereas in football, you try and like you jump in and dive in and doing all sorts of stuff. But sports, sorry to say that word, but sports are like the problem is that an event where you go and play a game is normally a tournament.
Yeah.
And a tournament is a sport. Like it just is. Like, like
and sports are competitive.
yeah, sports are competitive. Like and it's that simple. Whereas like and it doesn't mean I
But are
don't need
sports also fun?
to. Yeah, sport.
Water
There-
sports are.
There you go. That's important to say, because a lot of these discussions don't end in that, and I think that that's a problem. Where
But
people
then-
are like, yeah, so Warhammer can be a sport, and it can have clocks, and it can have teams, and
Boxing's a sport.
and it
Someone's
can-
trying to cave
but
my head in.
and it can be taken seriously. But no one ever finishes the sentence with, and it's really good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really good fun. Like that because
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, I
Like,
know
think-
because it's
yeah.
like the concept is like I used to DJ, right?
Yeah.
And when I
What?
was DJing, I used to DJ. Someone came up like, I'm bored. I don't like this song. I'm like, then you're boring. Like I'm like, you don't have to like the song, but if you're bored just because the song that's on isn't a song that you enjoy,
Yeah, yeah.
you're boring.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
But Rob, I I feel like, remember when the Queen died and there was the Dirge Week?
The Dirge Week.
But wait. But do you remember how we were having fun during the Dirge
we were
Week?
actually having, no, not to be unpatriotic, Peach, but we were having quite fun during Dirge Week. Because you just like,
We need to explain this to non-English.
Okay, so when Queenie died, when Liz died, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Lizzie.
R.I.P. Lizzie. You'd go to like the shopping center where everything was like bright, consumerism, fun, but there would just be like pictures of the Queen in black and white, and all of the music was funeral music.
Oh, wow.
Did you go to the
No,
shopping
I was
fair?
too busy in mourning.
Jesus Christ. Just in your little veil.
Yeah, my veil.
I was just dancing.
Yeah, but like, so we'd be like, oh, let's go to the shopping center. And this wasn't just like the day it happened. This was the week, right? Like
Yeah.
before the funeral or something. And you just like go to the shopping center and it would still be like, buy this now. And then, but you'd just be like,
Dirge music. It was so harrowing, and also so.
And we were just like,
And it was so dystopian as well.
so dystopian.
So dystopian.
Because it was still like the fun like models doing the fun model stuff.
Yeah.
And then just also R.I.P. Liz.
Yeah, just some old lady who died.
But
yeah,
with funeral
this is
music. So
rough.
we called it Dirge Week.
I didn't think I actually went out during that time. No.
Oh my God, you were literally in mourning.
I was,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
During Dirge Week.
Yeah, during Dirge
Dirge
Week.
Week. We got another Dirge Week coming up, Peach. We'll
I
take you
know.
out.
Dirge Weeks are coming hot and fast in this monarchy.
There's another one coming soon. We'll take you out for a party.
But yeah, I don't think you were boring for maybe not enjoying Dirge Week.
Yeah, no. But
I
either
just
way.
love the idea of the monarchs coming out and just being like, "Oh, you don't like this? Well, you're fucking boring."
I mean, I think we could talk about this forever, but it feels like something that's like
It's going to be interesting. I'm really excited to
Yeah.
see what people say. And like I said, when I put my story out, I did it on all my platforms just to make sure I got it.
You know what we should do?
What?
We should enter the tournament.
yes.
Do you want to
And
be?
I will
team-
paint you up a trug. I'll do you an entire trug army.
I'll do myself a trug army.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do one that you can play this year.
And you say in Age of Sigma 4 you can take what you want, right?
Yeah, you can.
What do you mean you can? Okay, right. So this is also, yeah, so to finish my point, I
Sorry.
asked like hundreds of people what they thought. Most people were extremely level-headed, so I'm not too worried.
No, I
Good.
think Rob's right. I think it's going to do good, if anything.
I hope so.
Because
I hope so.
my
It's
chat
very
with Rob,
unbiased, kind of like, look at this.
Yeah.
But I wasn't playing any games, so again, it's not fully, I think, representative.
I think we needed. Can I ask one question though before we move on?
I've got a question to ask as well. So yeah,
okay,
shoot.
let's
All right.
go.
So
let's
because
go.
you also judged the painting competition.
I did.
How was that?
It was really good. Oh, yeah, so this is something I put in a video as well, which I saw a load of comments, and like, I'm going to flick them up on screen so that people can see them when I do the video, but being like, I don't like playing competitive players because I always end up playing against grey armies.
Okay, yeah.
And I've never seen a room full of such nice armies. And it wasn't just that they were nice, they'd put the same amount of effort and love as I would say narrative players do. So like full-on conversions, silly little themes like Teresa's little hats that she's made for everything. It's so cute. And yeah, it was just like painting, and it was just like a really good painting competition. Like
So-
there wasn't any rushed armies or grey armies. It was just great.
So I've seen stuff where people have showed photos of like tournaments, and it's like been like really sort of half-assed attempts at building an army. And I think that's the organisers, not
Yeah.
the players. Whereas
it?
like when I've been to LVO, you can tell they're all prideful of their entries,
Yeah.
and you're paying a lot of money to go to a tournament, so you want to
Have good games.
have good games
Yes.
and enjoy yourself. So,
Alarm count. Siren count for the people listening.
So it is interesting. I think sometimes that perception has come from those more easy to. I'm not saying that Worlds isn't easy to access, but more easy to access events that
Oh, what when
are
there
not
isn't
well run, maybe
standardized?
or,
Yeah,
or-
because usually
or bad
there is a
leadership.
standard.
Probably is probably a better way to describe it.
Well, so Louise, what's it like as a Warhammer fan to have seen like a huge, very fancy hotel full of, because the train was also really nice as well. What's it like to see like the kind of? I feel like it's a hobby pinnacle.
The thing that I concluded with in my video, one of the things I concluded with, apart from just being like, and then they all lived happily
They all
ever after,
kissed.
they all kissed.
and hugged apparently.
Especially the Australian team, who did a lot of smooching. One of the things that I'm like, I was like, is that so when the tournament finished, it was like a freaking party. Like everyone was screaming and like hugging, and like there was like party music, and it was just like the best vibe I've ever seen at a Warhammer event.
Yeah.
Why have I never seen Games Workshop capture that?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not why have they never reproduced it? That's like a different topic. But why haven't I ever seen like a stream or a video or a live thing or a community article where they were just like, hey, we just filmed this community. Look how fucking fun they are.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
how fun the Age of Sigmar community is.
Because
Like,
it's not their product.
what
Like,
do you mean?
is in
It is. It's Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, no, it is their product.
Like literally, it says on
as
the
in they didn't
website,
didn't
it's a Games Workshop product.
because they didn't organise the event. I mean,
But so what? It's still like
Beca-
I
be-
would still be
So-
like,
This is interesting, actually, because I was thinking about this literally as you're talking.
yeah.
I would think they should too, Louise. I'm on your side on that
Yeah.
front. I'm not against that.
Yeah.
So when I've seen workshop events, when they'll run like the old grand tournaments and throwing scores and stuff like that, you would get those chances that wouldn't, because you have the rule which is like your models need to be painted.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they'll be like, I've got 3 colours on it because you said 3 colours minimum, so I've done sprayed in black and done 3 dots.
I think it was like three colors of wash and a base.
Yeah, the fact that you have to put that into a rule set says, and again, I think it was the leadership and the sort of policing of it.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's very clearly like everyone's passionate
Yes.
and wants to do that.
Everyone's-
They want to paint their
In
miniatures.
my
they're
event
just
packs,
like they're pretty freaking narrative.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there isn't just 2 separate things. They're narrative players that just want to battle it out
Yeah.
and push themselves.
in my event packs, it literally says paint your miniatures. You know what that means?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
you literally, because anyone else who's like, same with that guy following people around, or even the 3-dot guy, like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to like.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
I don't think the guy following around knew what he was doing.
Rules
It
is
sounded
written,
he
rules
was
is
mentally-
intended kind of
mentally
nonsense.
unwell.
Well,
isn't it?
you just have a conversation with someone and you just say, look, you just need to be an adult. And if you don't know what that is, then you can't come back until you learn what that is. It's really
Yeah, 'cause
easy.
if they're like taking the piss a little
Yeah.
bit at that level, they're probably gonna
Taking the
take
piss in every level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, and if you're achieving and getting armies done, you're probably sexy and getting stuff achieved in your normal life. It's crazy.
It's wild. You're probably really hot and have a Tesla. Like,
No, Louise! Stop turning it into that podcast.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Six.
Yeah,
So
me.
Did you have preconceptions? Obviously, you've been to
yes
Rob's
and
events.
no. Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely. Like, absolutely the same. I think everybody does, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just come from my local where the guy that played competitively was the dickhead.
Yeah.
And that's
Sorry
it.
about that.
And people, like, even when I first moved to Games Workshop, and it's just in everyone's vocabulary.
Yeah.
People say cheesy, people say beardy,
yeah.
and that's a negative term.
Also, this I think something that's generally true working inside Games Workshop is like basically they put out a product, Games Workshop put out a product, and then someone like online will be like, "You've got that wrong, by the way," and then everyone inside is like, "Fuck off." I've been
Dickhead.
working hard. Like
They are
like,
working
I
hard.
genuinely believe the response from the company, which is very prideful and in my opinion, like not very like collaborative, literally comes to the place of they're like you know, like they produced a Space Marine book and someone's like, you've actually copy and paste that wrong and the numbers are wrong, and they're like, oh, fuck off.
Hater.
Like, fuck off. Oh, I hate competitive players, you knobs. It's like, because they could read and edit and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Is it that meme of the guy riding a bike and he puts a stick in it and he's like, fucking competitive players?
and I can't understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Honestly,
if you
like-
imagine you put your homework out to all those people in the world, they're like, you fucked that up.
I would be so
Oh.
mad. I would
Yeah.
be furious. And they do work very hard and they do love their product. But what was I just about to say? I can't remember.
You two are going to go to a tournament
Oh
together.
yeah, we're gonna go to a tournament together.
We should do that.
Because I'd like to do the proper piece, because like there's gonna be so many people that are like, well, you didn't play games, and that's completely fair. I was just there to watch, be a weird, and I hope no one
Voyeur.
minds that I'm making this video.
No, like I like as someone who's in that scene, and as someone who live streamed the entire event, so literally made
True.
footage of the event.
That's true.
I would love an external person. I'd love Peach to go to an event similar to that. Like I'd like him to like or play in an event and really understand that like. I think, like mentally, like obviously, if you're just at home, you're like, I just want to play with my mates at the local club. That's so okay.
I had a lot of people in my DMs being like, I'd like to try the tournament team and a tournament scene, and I don't know how or if I'm good enough.
Yeah. So
Same, yeah.
The answer is you're not good enough. You just go and have fun.
Yeah.
Like
Go and learn.
Like go and learn.
Yeah.
Like if you rocked up today, I'm like,
You're not
I'd be
good
like,
enough.
hello, I'm Rob. They're like, hello, I'm whatever. And they'd be like, listen, I've played like 5 games. I know how to do stuff, and I've brought all my notes, so I'm ready to play.
Oh,
but
you're going in not expecting to win.
yeah, you'd be like, I just want to like learn, have fun. You'd be like, Absolutely.
I don't think there's a single person that I know that would be like, no, I'm just going to beat you.
Yeah, that is not going to be the response.
That feels insane.
That is not. It's insane. It's incredibly mentally unwell.
I don't think there's a single person who, even if you were on the team at Worlds, turned up and you're like, look, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm honestly.
Shout out to the Serbian team.
Oh!
I reckon our team will be called the Wooden Spooners. Or
The
something
Wooden
like that. Yeah, because that's what all we're going to get.
But that's the thing, though. Like, if you're just like, I just want to learn and have fun,
yeah.
right? That's all the game has to be. Because you have to remember, like, if you know how to do so, like Louise is another good example of this, and Peachy, you're a good example of this. Like Louise, one of Louise's favorite things to ever do, is go teach kids how to paint.
Yeah,
I love it.
And I'm going to be really, really kind here, but those kids are fucking shit at painting.
Oh my God,
right?
that's so mean. They're so good.
They're like, Louise,
I changed my mind about competitive players.
They suck. They suck.
They're children. They're babies.
Right?
Truth bomb.
Well, what I'm trying to say
Babies.
is Louise will be the first person to defend them. Like Louise, you can paint
that went well. I'm glad you said that.
Peachy, you as well as you can paint. The first time someone's like, "Oh, I'd like to learn how to paint," and they paint a mini and it looks like shit. Yeah,
You're like, this is great.
The first thing you would do is say,
Yeah,
this
is
looks."
great.
Right? It's just the same relationship
I would
in gaming.
never think to do otherwise.
Yeah, you would never think to do otherwise. And if you were someone who said, that's terrible, stop,
And you hear about
you're an idiot.
And you hear about
I
that
see what
guys
you're
in
getting.
painting as well, right?
Huh?
That guys exist in painting
do.
as well.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it many
Rob,
times.
you literally just said babies were shit at painting.
He's that guy.
You are that
He's
guy.
that guy in
Oh
painting.
my God, you're that guy in painting.
You're that guy.
We literally just...
Yeah, we found him. He's here.
It was an example. I wasn't
No, it's true
genuinely.
now.
Okay, Rob, tell me to my face that little Timmy that painted his very first rascal at my little thing, rate his miniature
Oh, it was
out of 10.
It was adorable.
Out of
Adorable.
10.
Like, because there was this little
was
kid.
10 out of 10.
We went to like a little, like, what was it? Like, theatre? That's not what they call museum. That's not what it's called.
It was an
called?
art gallery.
That's it.
A theater for wankers that do things on paper. What do you call them?
What do you call these places? Everyone's rubbish.
Well, it was like a diner, but everyone's staring at walls.
More voices like that, please.
But we went, and then Louise was teaching a bunch of kids how to paint her rascals, which is obviously adorable. So her Rascal Town goblins. And then one of the kids was just sat with his mum, and he was so shy. And Louise had
he was
done like
so cute.
Louise had done like a print out, so you could like colour it in pencil first,
yeah.
and then paint it that colour after, which I thought was really clever.
It was so smart. They just instantly got it.
Yeah, and he was like so shy, and he wasn't doing anything. So I went and got him the paper, and I was like,
You got him the
got him the pencils,
pencils.
and I was like, oh, I just can't colour it in. And then
Because part
eventually,
of it is that I had the kids come up to the front to get the pencils as a kind of like opening up sort
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had to like talk
Smart.
to each other and stuff like that.
And
And
then
a lot of them
eventually-
didn't even want to do that.
yeah, and he eventually got the mini, and like he'd coloured it in. So then he was like learning how to do it on the thing, and it was like honestly like. To this day, it's like one of the most uplifting at heart. Like my partner, like this little kid, its first experience of like painting,
was shit.
and it was just beautiful. Yeah, and it was shit.
It was so good. I hate you now. Tough day for kid fans.
This is why he's the honest war gamer.
Tough day for kid fans.
Jesus
I mean, there's
fucking
been many times where
Christ.
Charlie's brought some art back.
Yeah, let's go, Charlie Peach.
Peachy,
When
do
he
you
watches the-
know what the word digital footprint means?
No.
It means that in 10
Louise, shut
years,
up.
Charlie's going to find
Louise.
this
Oh, sod
video.
that. Don't worry
Louise,
about it.
let Charlie get ripped on the internet. Let's go.
I mean,
It's tough being a
trying
man
to
in
be
the hobby, Louise. I've
supportive,
said.
trying to be like a good dad. He'll give me a picture. I'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, this is really cool. Is
Yeah,
it a
yeah.
dragon? And he'll be like,
No.
no. I'm like, fuck. So I'll turn it around and I'm like, oh, is it a tent? He'll be like,
No.
no.
That's what Louise does when I paint minis.
literally, I'll be like, oh, I really like the flame effects you did on the eyes. He's like, I tried to dot them. Like,
And in the end, it's just a page of lava.
Yeah.
It's just a page of
That's
lava.
pretty cool.
It's not a dragon. It's not a tent.
I think it's great.
Yeah, well, it's really hard as a parent to try and like. Now I've learned just go. what have you drawn? Tell me about it.
Tell me
and then
about
you can
this
tell me about
thing.
it. Because if I try and guess, I just destroy the kids' dreams.
Literally.
that's rough.
And they get so offended
Yeah.
as well if
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
what. Like
yeah.
they know it's because they fucked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I've seen this before with kids where you're like,
'Cause you love teaching kids at the paint and
yeah.
take tables.
I like kids in general. I think they're cool. I think they're fun. But yeah, if you go to a kid and you're like, oh, that's a really nice car, you can see the tears.
Yeah.
Like the tears just start. Like
not a car.
they're
It's a
so
baboon.
self-conscious about their own work.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, especially as they get to the age where they're starting to look around and see what other people are
Yeah,
doing and get
yeah.
self-awareness, they're so like rejection sensitive at that point.
I've had that with Charlie. We both spent a night drawing castles. So he'll get his sketchbook, I get my sketchbook, he'll draw a castle, I'll draw a
the
castle.
return of Ninja Wars.
We're getting there.
Oh, I'm
We're
so
getting
excited.
to Ninja Wars. So I'll start drawing my castles like I did in Ninja Wars. I'll do like a turret, then I'll do like a wall. Got some
Ninja
buttresses,
Wars.
got some nice like, little towers. I've got a wizard's tower coming off. I've got some trees. I've got a little sort of
A little moat, a
portcullis.
little moat.
I've got a postern gate for the guys to get out if they're trying to get around the sides and stuff.
What you're saying is-
Charlie's looking going, Dad, he's still on one tower. He's like, Daddy, how have you done it so quick? No. And then he'll go, oh, I don't want to draw
Yeah.
anymore. I'm like, dude, it's fine. I've been doing this for 43 years, mate. You're only 6.
Dude, it's fine. It's cool. I'm just better than you.
And let me show you Ninja Wars in a bit. He'll be like, no, I don't want it. I'm not drawing anymore. And he'll
kids are
storm off.
extremely.
You know, Charlie, you're not even smoking. I was smelling at your age.
How many miniatures have you smelled?
Yeah.
Yeah, kids are extremely rejection sensitive.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not-
I
watching
apologise
this
to all the kids
podcast.
watching for calling
Yeah.
painting rubbish.
Yeah, you just made
I mean,
like 100
sometimes
kids
you have to
cry.
do that, though. You got to set them straight and narrow.
I think I've heard, like, I can't remember who it was, one of our friends is like, I don't know how to humble my child.
Oh,
Because,
really?
Yeah, because because I think they were getting a bit like, I'm the best in the world
Yeah,
at this.
yeah.
I'm so good at this. I can like beat anyone at this game. And you want to support them, be like, oh my God, you're so good at that game. You're great. You're obviously so talented and wonderful. But how do you like humble them?
Limit that.
How do you
It's
be
tricky.
like, I would frame it as like, that makes other people feel
Again, like so someone said this to me early on playing Warhammer, because like when I was at Games Workshop, one of the things people asked me was like, you know, like what
Why
I
are you-
get a taxi to Lenton, and someone would be like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, going to go to Warhammer. And I was like, if you brought your kids, you should take them around the museum. Like, you know, if you live local, that's an amazing day
Have
out
you
for the
brought your
kids.
kids? Oh, you would say that to them?
Yeah, I'd say that to them. I'd be like, you know, you should take your kids around the museum. That's an incredible thing to see
Yeah.
if you're a kid. You know, like, that's really cool. And they were like, oh, I was like, is it? And then they would sometimes ask me, they're like, is it good for kids? And I'm like, I can't think of anything better for kids. Like, you're learning arithmetic,
Yeah.
you're learning reading
just like
comprehension.
Warhammer in general?
Yeah, Warhammer in general.
You're
Like,
socializing.
You're socializing. You're learning artistic skills and
You're teaching them how to
win and lose.
Yeah.
basically a ton of really basic social stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Like winning, losing, communication, like, yeah.
Like, I think in this modern day as well, you know, when like a lot of kids are playing online, like
iPad kids.
Yeah, like iPad kids or something. I think the concept of like, you know, sitting around a table and collaborating, playing a miniatures game,
Yeah.
you know, physical, like, and it's a thing. I think that's actually incredibly healthy. And like, that's one of the reasons I've always loved it, is actually something I think that, you know, you'll have younger kids learn a lot of good social skills and become, you know, better people.
Yeah, I mean, even like if I go back to like, 10, 15 years ago when I was in retail, probably longer actually. It feels so long. And I have the same conversations with parents that would be coming in, because you'd have like the teachers that are bringing their kids in, and they're just like, this is amazing for my kid because he's learning all these skills. But you'd always get that one parent on a Saturday, it's a busy Saturday, they're walking around, they see loads of kids, there's lots of noise, and they'll be like, this isn't really for my, I'm a bit uncomfortable about this place. You'd be like, oh, what is it? It bothers you. That was a lot of money. Everyone seems to know what they're doing. I was like, yeah, but this person, we have a Sunday, you start explaining, like, we do a Sunday beginners
Everyone
course.
has to be a beginner at some
Everyone's
point.
a beginner. They've all learned. They're just comfortable now to socialise on their own. They're like, oh, so you just leave them to play again? Yeah, they can sort
Oh,
themselves.
so we can just leave our kids here.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Oh,
But
well,
then-
not anymore, because the stores have changed, right?
Well,
Have
yeah,
they?
but at least at the time, then you can talk about like, well, this is the codex. They learn maths because you have to do a lot of adding up, subtraction, times in as
They're
well.
reading a
Yeah,
lot.
There's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
There's the creativity side of it. So once you start you explaining that, you're like, yes, it is costly, but tell me a hobby that isn't. I mean, how much is an Xbox game? How much is an Xbox? You know?
And is it doing like? Is it contributing to the brain rot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
exactly. And
Yeah.
once you start having those conversations with the parent, you can see their eyes like start to like, oh, this is. Some just aren't
I can
interested. They
trick
don't want
my
their kids
kid.
to be geeks.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Oh
really?
God, yeah. They used to be like, my kid's not a freak. I'm getting him out of here.
No.
And you'd be like, cool, we don't want you. Bye.
Shut up.
Guarantee
Did
that
then
kid.
we're like-
Guarantee that kid turns into a freak.
Well, also you look at the kid and go, you're welcome anytime, mate. Because
You
it's
little
not the
freak,
kids' fault.
get
It's
in.
not the kids' fault.
That's so
It's just
awful.
stupid parenting. But you used to get it all the time. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I guess I'm from a generation that was slightly more kind of like accepting of geeky stuff as I was like growing up or something. But that's awful.
Yeah,
I hate that.
I once had a parent.
Henry Cavill does it now. It
She was
makes it
really
cool.
nasty.
Does
She
he?
came in. It was a busy Saturday. Loads of kids were playing, and she wandered around. She came up to the
What, a
'cause-
mum?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You could tell she just didn't want to be there.
Ew.
And I was serving at the till, and she came up to me. She was like, "Excuse me," because I was talking to a customer. She's like, "Excuse me." I was like,
Hello?
"I'm just serving someone. You're all right." She's
Yeah.
like, "Can you tell him to be quiet, please?" And that was one of my staff members running the game. And I was like, "Neil, 20% more loud, please." And he was like, "Okay." I was like, "No, I'm not."
You
and then
got
carried on.
Karen.
Yeah, I got Karen. She tried to Karen me. And then she didn't know what to do, so she just stormed off.
Yeah.
Good.
But I
Yeah.
was just like, you will get those kind of people coming in store.
That's
And
so strange.
a part of me
But
was
again, like that's a good example of like interpersonal skills, right? Like that's one of the things that this does because you have to be physically in a space with other people. You're learning more and more interconnective and interpersonal skills all the time. Super rewarding.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
I've learned. I feel like as well, I found my people doing Warhammer where I hadn't done that before.
Okay.
Like, because I'm not very confident and like, sure, online you can find people, but in real life you can find people. And I didn't really get that in uni or high school or anywhere else, but I found it in Warhammer and that's
Yeah.
really nice.
That is really nice.
Oh, oh.
Okay. All right, good. So you had a good time.
Yeah. How are you, Rob?
Oh,
yeah, we'll get to you, Rob. Yeah, Rob, hi.
maybe a tad late for me, I think.
Do we have time?
Yeah, okay. Well, not in a bad way. Just I've enjoyed the conversation we've had.
You've been part of it, I think, with the
Yeah, I have, yeah. So I was streaming so the reason Louise came with me obviously because I've been the media partner for Ages in My Worlds for 3 years, mainly because there's no other crazy idiot that can stream that many tables of Warhammer, as I've kind of explained before. Streaming Warhammer is something I initially started doing for Games Workshop.
Yeah. you're very good
Peachy's
at it.
thank you.
He was
It's
very
very
good
kind
at
of
it.
you. And I think like we've developed some skills. We learned some, we've done a bunch of new stuff, but this year actually, because it was 3rd edition and obviously during the launch of 4th edition, so it felt like the games weren't as important. Like no one's doing tactical analysis of how the games went over the weekend. They're all like, okay, let's just learn 4th edition.
It was like a send-off.
It was like a send-off, exactly.
cute.
And so like we tried to do some like more infield stuff, which went like, it had different levels of success.
What do you mean by infield stuff?
Effectively,
In-field interviews.
Oh,
so
see
you know
what
when
you mean, got you.
you know when you're covering a game,
Yeah.
or in the case we were doing 4 games at once. There's obviously also, like Louise said, 230 people playing. So those 4 games are something of like 140 games happening. So you want to go around the room. So we had our infield reporter like going in and looking at stuff, or John would go around with the camera and just like go and like check in on the other tables and see what was happening. And so that was super cool. Like,
Have a chat with a nutritionist from Denmark. Was it
yeah,
Denmark?
Denmark, the winning team, so the champions were Denmark. I should
Spoiler.
point that out.
Is that because
Spoiler.
of all the nutrition? Did
They
that
had a
help?
nutritionist.
They brought a nutritionist. She
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah, she's like
She gave them little cups of snacks, which were all very salty, and then a banana.
yeah. There was like,
Oh.
there was like,
Was she part of the team to
yeah,
play?
Yeah.
She was part of the team.
Amazing.
She
Not
had
to play.
We need that.
Most of the teams have coaches.
Yeah.
Some teams have like nutritionists, or they have other stuff. Like I legitimately think it's a sport.
I think they need to start getting jesters, and I want to just say I am very willing to be any team's little
Scotland,
court jester.
surely.
Okay,
Oh, the
nice.
Scottish team are great. Shout out to the Scottish team. I love them very much.
They were great.
Did they wear kilts?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, they wore kilts, they wore flags, they were loud, they were everything you want in a
Did
Scots
anyone
person.
at any point shout freedom?
No.
I'm disappointed.
Me too, but the Scots weren't. Yeah, I'm willing to be the court jester for
Good.
any team
Yeah.
that want me.
But it's the 3rd year I've done it. So normally we'll do 8 tables at once.
Okay.
But this year we just went down to 4 because the games weren't as important as some of the other stuff.
Rude.
It's just true. Although the games are important, obviously, to the players
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
teams. It was the best. Like Tom, who runs the event, runs an amazing event. And normally, what happens is every year it changes location. This is the first time it's like stuck in the same place.
That's
Next
good.
year it will probably be somewhere else.
Okay.
So like it travels around.
Does that have
like,
an effect on like anything at all?
has an effect on everything.
Okay.
So like what happens is at the end, so now there's all the captains of this year vote in a new like commissioner. Because it's all, that's the thing we should also say about Worlds.
They bid to host.
Yeah, this is the thing we should say about Worlds, which is again really amazing, I think, is that it's a community project. It's like the captains from each team represent their like nation in the voting block.
Yeah.
But then they start doing votes. They're like, okay, who's the new commissioner? Okay, like loads of people, you put themselves forward and they're like, this person is the commissioner.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that happens is they put bids in. And then like Austria will be like, oh, we want to host, this is where it'll be. It'll be this close to an airport. And then
these are the prices it'll be for the tickets with everything included.
So then they feed back, then the captains feed back to their team. And so one nation might be like, wow, that's really hard to get to. So that's a no from us.
So America would be quite tricky.
So America are putting a bid in, but but it's just none of the Europeans will fly over there. It's too expensive.
No one could afford it.
Yeah.
However, then the Americans then have to fly over to Europe every time.
Yeah.
But they can afford
Yeah.
it. They got burger money.
But I suppose that's the interesting thing. Like, they're having to take the cost to go there, and even those more people having to take the cost to go to America, it's still no different really per team, right?
It's much more expensive for some of the European teams to travel to America than it is for the Americans to travel over.
I think most of the teams are from Europe. There's Australia and USA and Canada.
Yeah, that's probably the only. Although next year there's talk of Team Mexico, which is pretty spicy.
Oh my God, Team Mexico,
Nice.
and it is spicy.
Yeah. And it's really fun. And more teams every year. Like this year, one of the Filipinos, Lance. He was in the Australian team, and then.
Oh, I loved him.
So then
they got us a Jolly Bees hat.
Yeah, he was super cute. And then Orkman, who's from Austria, who they only had their very first team, very first 2-day event this year. So he was in the Australian team as well. So some of the smaller communities. But what's fun for those smaller communities, the Greeks is only 20 people.
Yeah.
But the Greek team beat the USA team, and
This is huge.
And to the USA. If they beat Greece, they're like, okay, we've got Greece down, who's next? But for Greece, that's cloud nine.
They were like the underdog. So because the USA is a huge, well-supported team of really well-established players, and Greece have 20 people in the whole community.
Yeah, but
grabbing each other and shouting Malacca, that's all they got.
But they're also full of mythical god warriors, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They are.
So,
Yeah. So and then they only beat the Greeks only beat the USA by 2 points.
It wasn't it 3?
No, 2 points.
Was it only 2?
2 points. But they were
we've won.
It was the most visceral roar, with the exception of the Danes winning in the final game at the end.
I'll show you the video of that.
The
It's so
visceral
cool.
roar from them coming, because it was like they'd taken out a Goliath, and by the thinnest margin.
Yeah.
It's 2 points.
Yeah.
Right. But
it was like a dice roll gone wrong.
yeah, it was one dice roll, and they were over the moon. So
is it really weird of me to be imagining all these teams dressed as the
Some of them
stereotypical?
do. Some of them.
Because when you talk about Americans, I'm just thinking GIs from World War II. When you talk about Greeks, I'm thinking Greek hoplites.
No, this is. It's kind
Scottish or
of.
Klansmen.
It's kind of accurate. It's kind of accurate.
Yeah, they're all wearing their sports jerseys and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I streamed for the week. It was really hard, but I want to thank Dan, who was my co-host for the day, and also Emma, who came in and did some guest commentary on the other 2 days, and John, who did the camera work, and then Mike as well, and Charlie for doing table bossing. So they're the people who give us the information.
Yeah.
So even that's the bare bones operation. It's a 6-person crew.
Yeah, wow.
That's
Okay,
how
yeah.
bare bones it is. Yeah.
I'm showing him some of the team outfits.
That's so great. Yeah. It's just bare bones, and it's a lot of work. And it was a week of work. But now I'm really excited to be back. I've already started making Age of Sigmar 4 videos. I'm really excited to do some old world stuff. And I'm going to start running some events, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, and you're going to start playing at events.
Yeah, I've. So this is a new thing,
Nice.
actually.
Rob's actually going to play games.
Well, so normally I run events.
Yeah.
But everyone's really enjoying the events here, so the tickets are selling out pretty fast, which is super exciting.
That's really good, yeah.
So I don't have to be. Hopefully I don't have to be too stressed about making sure it's a really good event. I think I'm at the stage now where I know what the event is.
Yeah.
So I've hired someone to. I'm going to still host the event, but I'm also going to play in the events.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to start recording my games, which would be really nice for me because it means I get to play, but also I'm making
You
content.
haven't played
yeah.
them forever.
Yes, and then I can start building some meme lists and do some really fun stuff.
Bought a lot of pigs.
Yeah, I got a lot of pigs. I did. I bought some big pigs.
The barbecue list.
Oh, this the orc pigs.
The new Iron Jaws
Yes,
Gorgon, the big pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to do. There's this thing in Total War called Doomstacks. Have you ever seen that?
No, I'm aware of Total War, but I've not seen.
So in
Doomsday.
Total War,
So they're
they'll-
just like meme lists.
yeah, it's basically meaningless. So like in Total War, you can have like 20 units in your army.
Yeah.
Right, so you have a hero and then something. So what they'll
So I
do is
used
like
to do all Pegasus riders.
Nice.
And glitch the computers
exactly
so badly.
right, exactly. So like you'll just be like, what, can I win a game with all dwarf cannons?
Oh, I
Or-
do. I love doing that. It's so good. Yeah.
200 Doom wheels.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to play events with
Meme lists.
Doom stacks and meme lists, and then like make videos about it, and then I think that'll be really fun.
I think it'll
I'm
be
looking
fun.
forward to that. So I'm glad because I've been kind of checked out the game because I knew new game was coming. So now I'm ready to jump in, play for a while, and then just see where we go.
Nice. Have you ever? Sorry to sidetrack back to Total War. Have you ever used the laboratory?
Yes.
No, I haven't
So you
yet.
can change the gravity
Yeah.
and like the power. And
No,
stuff.
I need to-
I just like having the unit sizes be bigger.
Yes. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
good.
I literally do like.
Doom wheels.
I do that. I think you can have like up to what 800.
It's like playing The
models
Sims,
per.
but yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Having
It's-
what 8,000 Daughters of Cain screaming down a hill is amazing.
I like picking
Sugar.
my favorite one. What?
I don't know if you've heard this, Peach.
What?
Do you know that Total War are doing a new one?
What?
They're doing a new Total War.
What is it? What is it? What is it? Do you know?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Apparently, it's a
I didn't
rumor.
know that.
Apparently, it's a rumor they're doing Star Wars.
That makes a lot.
Oh,
yeah, that makes a lot of
Charlie's
sense.
gonna love
I'm in
that.
for that. That's
So-
cool.
Yeah, so have you ever seen how Three Kingdoms play?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot more about the heroes battling it out.
Yeah.
It'll just be
Oh
that.
my
Yeah.
god!
I quite
didn't
like
know
Three
that.
Kingdoms. That didn't do so well, but it did really well in China. 'Cause-
Incredibly well in China, yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
That's
cool.
Yeah, it's the only rumor I heard yesterday.
The one thing that Total War did, I really liked, and they never. I think it was a multiplayer only. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, folks from the comments. But
Yes.
Shogun 2
Yeah.
and Fall of Samurai, when you did multiplayer, you could change the units themselves and the characters because there was like a little custom modifier.
Is this when you say you made them ladies in bikinis?
Well,
Ladies in
I didn't, but
bikinis.
you could probably do that. But you could literally change the colours of like the skins.
Oh, yeah,
and
their
stuff.
armor and stuff.
Customization.
You can
yeah,
really
yeah.
heavily customize everybody and stuff like that. And it was such a shame that they'd never brought that into like Warhammer
Maybe.
Total War, because then you could change your halberdiers to be Stirland or Nord.
Maybe it was like an IP thing.
maybe it was just a lot of work.
Yeah, maybe it was a lot of work.
Maybe a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Probably a lot of
work.
But yeah, so yeah, you enjoyed. Was this your last year doing Worlds, as in like streaming?
Yeah, I had said that, like, I don't know. Like,
I think he could be convinced otherwise.
Yeah, I
but-
spoke to my friend Noah, and I was like, "Are you doing Worlds next year?" And he's like, "I don't know, I'm too close to it." And I think that's a great thing.
I'm too close to it.
Yeah, because like right now, like what happened last week, I hung out with 200, like not, I don't know all 200 people, but 200 like-minded people, as well as like obviously my partner. Or the stream team were
We
amazing.
barely hung out. I
Like,
feel like I didn't see you at all.
but like the ref crew as well, Charlie. I mean, I might just go back next year for
Shout
an
out.
Italian fellow called Charlie.
Shout out to Charlie.
Who called me. The first thing I saw him, he called Louise the Marie Antoinette painting. He
Don't
said,
know if I love that.
and he
get
said
your
I
head
was.
chopped
Yeah, I was like, is this a good thing?
And
This
I
is
said-
the first thing you've said to me?
And he called me the useless prince. Yeah, he went, and then threatened to glass me about 2 minutes later.
Yeah. There was a lot of
Wow.
threats to
He's
glass you.
amazing.
We love
Like,
Charlie.
Yeah. He at one point called me Goebbels. It was a tough time for Rob
Love
fans.
Napoleonics. You probably like him.
Yeah, he loves it. He's great. I love Charlie.
Yeah, he's
but like
a-
Tom, the event organizer, as well as a bunch of the other people, are great. So it's like, do I next year want to go back and see like a couple of hundred of my friends? I mean, obviously
That
I
sounds
do.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously I do.
Why don't you try and join a team?
No, because obviously like it's all
UN
national.
would have you.
It's all national based. UN would have me.
They would have you in a heartbeat. Why
but-
don't you do that then?
Because that's not really something I'm overly interested in
Why
doing.
not?
Because I'm not. I don't know why. It's not really something I'm keen on doing. It's a lot of work as well. It needs you to
Yeah,
be clear.
it is true.
It's an incredible amount of work.
Yeah.
Like the commitment. Like some of the players were playing something like 10 to 15 games a week.
Oh, they had 11 games over the
Wow.
course of
No, I'm talking about in prep before the
Oh,
event.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I don't
true,
have that
that's
time.
True. Yeah.
Like I
that's
don't
fair.
have that time.
That's
That's
fair.
it's
Yeah.
incredible workload to do that preparation. But do I want to do it next year? I don't know. Like it, the audience response was super nice. Like the Danish national team who won, they were in their national news.
Oh, I
they
need
were
to
sponsored.
get footage of this.
Yeah, so
like
last year when they won,
they brought one like this morning, but the Danish
yeah, the
equivalent
Danish
of it.
equivalent of like the morning breakfast show.
I need to find footage of this. Do you have it somewhere?
I don't know. I'll try and ask the guys.
Yeah, they'll
That's
know.
amazing.
But they had
they
like
love them.
Yeah, because Denmark were like, we've won a national thing. Let's get them on. And they were in the morning like, what's like normal morning show?
Yeah.
And they were in the newspapers. They were interviewed. There was loads of stuff.
I got one of my photos in one of the Danish like news thingies, and it's
Amazing.
credited as Rob.
Yeah, that's true. Man. That Games Workshop in me not crediting people. I was like, this
That
guy.
dog in me.
That dog in me.
I've got that dog in me.
I remember years ago we went to Bosworth and Liz took an amazing shot of like a joust.
Yeah.
And they were like just almost hitting each other. And I sent that to the BBC News.
Did you get
BBC, it
credited?
was like the local news. And because they were like, oh, send us some photos of things. And I sent that. And I said it's from Elizabeth Peach. But they said Elizabeth Peach jousting at Bosworth. So
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's like now credited as her being the jouster.
I would be totally cool with that.
That'd be super cool.
But yeah, it was a good photo. It was a good photo.
Yeah.
So like I mean, it's super rewarding, and like the coverage provides a really good context and for my community.
Yeah.
Like I see it as like a community project. Because I'd like to be, again, really clear, just in case Tom watches it or anyone else, the best I've ever been treated is by the event organizer that's run it for the past 2 years.
Yeah, Tom's lovely.
Yeah, actually, no, Corey who does, no, he's
Someone
lovely. Sorry.
treat you better than Tom.
No, but like, there's also been some really great people. Obviously, Castle.
Yeah,
The
obviously.
Everwinter guys have always been really great. There has been quite a few people, like the Malarkey guys when they took me to Sweden. There's been quite a few people who've always been really supportive of me and tried their hardest. But like imagine the cost of flying 5 people, putting them up
in
and
a
feeding
hotel.
them for an entire week.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
It's a lot. And that's the bare bones of what it can be. So I don't know if honestly the service that we do for the community, which is how I see it, I don't know if that's really like cost beneficial to the community.
Yeah,
and I'm really
yeah,
conscious
okay.
of that. Like, so
Maybe it will be one day.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Maybe
Like,
maybe next Age of Sigmar will be like huge.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's me being selfish, wanting to do the coverage. Like, it's a lot, right? Right now, I just want to play. There's a new game out. I want to play it.
Yeah,
That's
I want to
exciting.
hang out with people.
Yeah.
I want to paint some new armies.
Yeah.
Paint some new minis. And
You
I
could
want
do
to
you could do slopping on your pigs, some sloppy pigs.
some sloppy pigs. Yeah.
sloppy pigs.
Slap on them pigs.
Sloppy's my
on
new
them.
painting technique. Slopping.
Oh, is it faster than slap chop?
It's maybe
It's
slaster than
It's sloppier than slap chop. That's
Sloppier.
the sloppier. I'm
Slap
calling it
chop
slopping so that
just
if
got
it
worse.
does go viral again, then it means all YouTubers have to use the term slopping on their videos. It's legitimately just to annoy people.
you thought
then
slap
the,
chop was bad. Well,
Welcome to slopping.
And then the painting community will come out and go, that's always been a thing though,
Yeah,
Rob.
that's always been a thing.
but it
thing.
has. It's just using an ink wash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ah, nice.
That's literally
Is
it,
it like
but-
dipping kind of thing? Do you remember dipping? Do you
Yeah,
remember that
I
was a rage?
remember attaching towels.
mean shake
to,
and bake?
Shake and bake.
What's shake and bake?
Have you done a shake and bake?
don't know
What's a
what's a
shake and bake?
Do you know about shake and bake?
Please tell me what the shake and bake
Oh
is.
my god!
Just say it with your words.
Use
so
your
happy
words,
about
Rob.
this. This is such a moment for me being able to describe this to 2 hobbyists.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, this is beautiful. So you know when you get some minis,
Yeah.
and you do some base colors, not very well,
Yeah.
and then you need to obviously wash them. Yeah, so what you do is you
He's-
get some
he's literally just
army
about to
painters.
describe
you
dipping.
get some army painter strong tone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're
You
just
stick it in a bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pour it in.
Yeah.
You stick your minis in.
Yeah.
You just shake them around.
That's dipping.
That's shake and bake.
No, we used to attach them to the end of a drill. We had a bucket of
Not
quick
even do that.
shade,
Yeah.
a drill, and another bucket. You get your miniature on the drill, you stick it in the quick shade, and then you go bzzz in the bucket.
Yeah.
Not as good as shake and bake.
No, shake and bake's probably more efficient.
Shake and bake
actually.
makes me upset.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Makes me uncomfortable.
But make sure you get the right carry bag that doesn't have holes in it, right?
That's true.
Or don't use a packet of crisps because then they get all vinegary.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, that adds
Give
the
it a wipe
texture.
beforehand.
Adds the texture. Okay, so what are you going to be doing next week, Peach?
You know what? I don't know. I've got
That's
multiple
exciting.
plans for my videos. I've got like 7 or 8 videos written down. I know I need to do a Hail Caesar because I'm going to get a video sponsored by Warlord, all their new Hail Caesar epic stuff. I want to get that done as soon as I can for them, so they
You're
can
going to present
watch
it in a toga?
I mean, I could.
You are now.
I could maybe.
Yeah.
No one needs to see my naked torso.
No one needs
At
to.
2,
Pete.
Peachy, at 2.
Yeah,
I would.
maybe.
I would watch
I
it.
should do that. But yeah, I've got a sponsor video for them. They've sent me some sprues. It's really just fun painting like some small 10mm dudes. And I want to. I think Helsey's released at the end of July, which is when we're at GriffCon. So there's that. There's Stargrave. There's some Crooked Dice stuff I want to talk about. There is the I don't know what that means. That D&D game. I want to do the models for that.
It's so exciting.
there's the big
Heretic Hunt.
Heretic Hunt. There's the big
Heretic
40k stuff.
Hunt.
I still need to crack on and do the black powder Napoleon
Exciting.
40k.
You've got loads.
I've got
You've
so many
got enough
videos.
for like a
I just
year.
don't know
You
which
just
one to
described
do.
a year's worth
Yeah.
of videos there.
Maybe ask the patrons, see what they want to see.
I'm tempted to do the same because I also just have loads in the bank right now.
Loads.
Yeah. So like, I just want to do my Bandai videos so quickly.
Oh, yeah,
'cause
Bandai
now,
video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now I've got my kit ready. Like everything that I ordered has arrived, so I can just frickin' do it now. So I might just like give myself a little bit of time. And
See, I
just,
feel underprepared now because I'm just gonna.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm doing the whole thing. I'm thinking even if the video is just like 10 things I learned as a Warhammer fan trying Gundam for the first time. And
Great
just,
title.
Is it? I think it's a bit confusing. But either way, I want to do that. I've got my Dark Kraken video. Peachy.
Oh, that is so spicy.
Wait until you see what Tom has done.
Yeah.
It's almost unfair that the video isn't just about Tom now, and he will hate that I've said that because he's just made the most incredible miniature. He's sculpted the most incredible Space Marine miniature I've ever seen in my life. So we're doing a new Rascal soon.
New Rascal is soon.
New Rascal soon. I'm currently painting up some orcs to do a kind of like moving on from the Citadel painting system video.
yeah.
So I'm doing that.
got loads.
And then Rob is just drowning in AOS form.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
22?
I have 25 army reviews to do.
Okay.
I've already done the core rules. 25 army reviews, I've done 2. So 23 to go.
Wow.
23. They take about 3 to 4 hours each at the moment. So,
How many a week are you doing?
all of them by next week.
All of them a week.
All of them in 1 week?
Oh, he's getting it out the way. So
Yeah.
like Rob, Rob.
Is there enough hours in a week to do that?
Let's find out.
I'm not going to see Rob. Rob's going to live here for a week.
Yeah.
Like
Are
he
you
will
going to
be.
have to come and sponge bath him?
I might.
No.
Like a Morton
Like, I'll be-
just. Oh.
No, I'll keep my head in the game, but I am a content gremlin.
And in the
like,
shower.
and I do, and like I'm incredibly excited to like learn what the new rules are. And my process is, so I always do it live on Twitch. And then I make a video as I'm streaming on Twitch. So I
Efficient.
do like a little bit. So it's quite efficient as
Yeah.
well. But also like it's really collaborative because everyone else is really excited. So we all get to talk about it and like everyone kind of chips in with some thoughts and ideas. And what's really fun, one of the fun things to do is like come up with some combos. Can I explain?
What do you mean a
Please,
combo?
yeah, yeah.
What do you mean a combo?
I've never
this
seen
is-
you so excited. This is amazing.
Okay, so this is really fun, and I think it was Pete in the chat who reminded me. So there's a little goblin called a rabble rouser.
I love him.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so rabble rouser has got this special ability, which I'll explain in a moment. Right, and then you know the god king Kragnos.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so Kragnos, the god of destruction.
Literally the big guy.
The big guy, right? Okay, so the reason
And
I really,
Rabble Rouser, the littlest
the
little shit.
littlest guy, right? So there's this Rabble Rouser is a character you can give an item to. So we found out that you can give him an item that makes him a magician. Perfect.
I
Right?
love that.
Okay, so then I love that you're like sold there. Like that's just
He's just sawing a squig in half
Yeah,
and he's
well,
just having
okay.
a great time.
Right,
He's got
so-
a little pointy hat.
And this is why I love what I'm about to explain is what I love about what I do, right?
Yeah.
So you can make him a magician. Fine, super simple. He's got a special rule. Where what you can do is he basically goes into deep strike, so he goes into reserve.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you can bring him on anywhere on the board. Right. So picture this.
Okay.
He has the ability to do that. So you are a regular human in the Cities of Sigmar.
Yep.
Shield up.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Made a nice shield wall.
Nice shield
Got
wall.
your mates next to you.
Right?
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, from a tunnel, pops a little rabble rouse at the back. You're like,
Who's this guy? What's he doing?
what's going on? Anyway, so he has an ability called Nina, you can't catch me.
Right.
Yeah. Where what he does is he picks any monster in his army on the board and he says, you can't catch me. And that monster is then allowed to run and charge.
Holy shit, so Kragnos.
So Kragnos, now you're getting it. So now you're a Cities of Sigmar guy, and you're like, okay, Kragnos is coming. We got the cannons. No problem. This is not going to be a problem. He's like, fuck, he's coming a bit faster than I thought. A bit of
Just
a problem.
galloping.
A bit of a fucking problem. This.
With this little goblin on his back being like,
Wait, no, the goblin's behind us
Oh, for
because
fuck's
he's
sake.
been like over our shoulder, been like, oh, you can't get me.
Oh,
Right?
so he like attracts him over.
He attracts him over,
Oh.
right? And because if Kragnos ever ends up getting close enough to him, he does like D6 mortal damage and kills him.
Oh, I get it. So he's rousing the rabble of Kragnos.
Exactly.
That's
And there's some poor humans going to be in a little
Right,
sandwich,
so Kragnos then runs through our lines,
bowling balls,
trying to get to this little fucking goblin, right? That's how the
Is that
rules
guy
work.
with a cannon with a drink going? Fuck.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
what is happening? Yeah, he's what is happening. So he gets through to the back, but now don't forget we've made Rabble Rouser a magician, right?
Uh-oh.
Right, so
I
Rabble
thought that was part of his.
No.
That isn't part of his
Because
act.
we made him a magician, there's a
is not
special
part
spell.
of the
There's a
act.
special spell you can take where you can teleport a unit.
Oh no!
So what happens is Kragnos runs through our lines, smashes a bunch of dudes, uses a special move called Power Through, gets near to the Rabble Rouser, right? And then the Rabble Rouser's like, teleport, throw him in front. Yeah? And then the process starts again.
Oh shit! So we can just be like, boop, brum.
Yeah, boom, boom. I mean, we can turn around and shoot Rabble Rouser in the head.
What?
Yeah, which is what we'll do.
What?
That is
Get out of
actually
here.
like
What
proper,
a little
proper
shit.
hilarious. I like that.
That's
so like
hilarious.
So obviously, like that's also mechanically really strong. You do a lot of damage, lots of things happen.
But that's
And it might-
also extremely funny.
and also dumb. And like the it's what I love
Do you
about
think they knew that was the thing, or is this just like a weird quirk?
This will be something that's probably not been thought about, but it's just
It
happened.
might have
maybe,
been.
because
It
you've
might
discovered
just
it.
be really good fun.
It just is really good fun. Some of
Yeah.
the stuff is just really good
Yeah.
fun. And finding those really good fun things, and then also if they end up working, is
yeah.
kind of why I
I
love
want to
doing
see
what
that
I do.
happen.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
I
I
mean,
want to see
as
Kragnos
the-
get teleported to just be mad at this little shit-eating goblin
Just keep throwing
with a little wizard hat on, going,
all I'm
no,
thinking now
you can't catch me.
I'm the Citizen Sigma player, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
spent
yeah.
14 weeks painting this army.
Wow.
I've not talked to my wife. I've not talked to my son.
You're really proud
They've
of
been
your
dead to me.
army,
I'm proud of my army. It's got all the
been
markings on it. I've freehanded the designs. I've not even used decals. I've freehanded the designs. I spent about
Battenbergs.
14 hours now putting them onto the tabletop because there's that many of them.
Yeah.
And now I've had to spend another 14 hours taking them all off again.
Yeah.
Kragnos keeps getting fucking teleported
because
by
you
a
because you
shit-eating
because you got
goblin.
some Australian who's doing a shoey in front of you, being like, I can't read, but I'm about to do something wild.
I can't read, but this is gonna blow your fucking socks off.
So yeah, like I can't wait to read the
fun.
rest of the books and find out like what other silly things we can come up with. Because obviously there's the good stuff.
Shall
I'm
I
like,
do a
this is
video
good.
which is like the top 10 silliest tactics in New Age of Sigmar?
Yeah, you could do that.
You
Definitely.
could do that.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah.
I love you're like, oh, great idea. I'll do that.
Oh yeah, that's a nice idea. Yeah, you could do some really fun
You
stuff.
should do that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Will
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do that?
Yeah, definitely. I've done a couple of videos like
Yeah,
that
but
before.
do a funny. Do a silliest.
Try
silliest.
to not be you, Rob. Be funny.
Yeah, but like do what you usually do, but just like be funny. So like
Anyway, Louise, you're going to make your video. We're going to go now and talk to the Patreon people. I think that's correct, if that's cool.
Thank you for coming to our Juggz.
Yes, appreciate you.
Love you. Missed you all.
I did. I missed everyone too. Next week we might be back with a guest.
Yes, we might be back with a guest.
That would be very fun if we were. But until then,
Thank you for your support and love.
yes. We'll see you soon. Bye.